Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Real Debaters. I'm Micheal Petrow, your host and one of the debaters on the show. We're supported by the Toad and Hole Pub and Eatery in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Let's start with the beer. The beer menu is ever-changing, so you'll never be bored of it. They celebrate local craft breweries just as much as they do domestic and imported. Then you've got the menu itself. They've got a great lunch brunch menu, dinner and late-night snack, all those classic pub eateries, foodies, eateries, things that you eat in a pub, they have. Then next door, you've got the whiskey bar, which has 200 different whiskeys to choose from. So if you're looking for a little bit more of a high-end cocktail, head next door. If you're wanting to dance and sing the night away, then head downstairs to the Cavern, which is their live music venue. Let's see here. For the month of November 22nd, there's This Time Around, Lake Disappointment, Casualties, and the Newborns. November 23rd is Moontan, Johnny Two Fingers and the Deformities, and Ronnie Ladobrook and the Electric. November 29th is Resurrection 2 Dance Night featuring DJ Evil Bastard and Cyberella. And November 30th is the White Doves doing a Black Crows tribute. So thank you to the Toad. Go support them. They support us, so we want you to do the same for them. A little bit of information for you. They're closing December 31st. That's their last night. Then they're reopening early in the new year at a new location just up the street from where they are. They're going to be setting up their own shop there, so it's going to be a super good time once that happens. So if this is the first time you've heard it, we're glad we could let you know. Once we know, we'll be telling everybody as well, too, when to expect them to open again. This week on the show, in the living room, we've got Jimmy Skinner, Mark Cowell, and Mark's girlfriend, Chrissy Latimer, decided to come on the show. It was super fun. What did we talk about this week? We got to deal with the motivational speeches from from what we think are some of Hollywood's best movies. But the whole premise this week was to take a classic motivational speech scene, where the main character is trying to amp somebody up, or the main character needs amping up, and someone comes in and just gives that performance of a lifetime and motivates them to get back on track. So we took that kind of speech, and then we were like, how would you use it in your everyday real life? Who would you approach? What kind of scenario would you use said speech in that's completely irrelevant to where the speech actually came from? So without further ado, I will cue that little reel. There it is, and you enjoy the show.
For a walk instead of we need to walk, or
we need to sit on this bench.
like there's something about that, like we need to have a talk.
Can we talk about something?
Asking if we can talk.
It's like the difference between falling and taking a fall.
Yes, yeah.
There's a different connotation.
What is taking a fall, though? I've never
I
understood
think
that.
it's just an old person falling.
You know when you can't get up?
100%.
Okay, so what?
Yeah.
So
It's when falling becomes an issue.
versus just falling because you were drunk or
Like
falling.
Aunt Ethel took a fall.
Okay.
Mike fell yesterday when he was drunk.
Aunt Ethel's in the hospital for sure.
But
sure
when
will.
it's like, ooh, Mike took a fall yesterday, you'd be like, oh, is he okay?
Yeah, like you really up the seriousness
yeah.
of took a fall.
It usually implies that there's something more to the story. It's like he took a fall and he's got a broken hip.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I take a fall, it's always going up the stairs.
That's when you fall the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I take falls.
I do if I ever fall, and I've fallen very little, I count on two hands. But I do the whole like legs up, parallel to the ground. Like that's how I've always fallen.
Ass over tea kettle.
Ass over tea. Like one time coming into work with a tray of like 2 trays of Subway, like catered Subway, and like
Wrapped or unwrapped?
like trade.
Oh,
like,
so it's like how the cookies come.
Yes.
Okay.
100%. Like, and if they fall the proper way, that's just a Subway. It's like the Hiroshima of Subway. This is giant ball of, That's probably not the best way to
It's
describe a bomb
Remembrance
scene.
Day.
Right? Maybe that's why that's on my mind. No. Well, the reason here. Okay, here we go. We're gonna go down a rabbit hole before we even go down a rabbit hole. I have a new level on Battlefield V, which is the Battle of the Midway.
Oh.
And in honor of Remembrance Day and Veterans Day, they released the map. I think you might be Jamie might be the only one who knows what I'm talking about.
Battlefield is a video game.
Battlefield is a video game, so there's a lot of like Japanese battle on my brain right now, which is why I picked the trailer for that. What were we talking about before?
That's why it's on your brain.
That's why. Well, yeah. Okay. Anyway, so how I fall? Yes. So I was walking into work and I had these 2 trays and like that black ice situation where you don't even know it's there, so you're walking with full intent. You're not like penguin walking, where you're like it's a slippery parking lot. And this goes out to anybody who lives in Arctic climate, either all of the year or a good chunk of the year. So Edmonton, Calgary in Canada, right? Saskatchewan,
Utah,
Regina,
never mind.
Utah don't know. Yeah, they're still plowing while we're shoveling. Yeah. So like, and like I hit my head hard enough that I kind of was like, oh, here I go. But I didn't get knocked out enough. And I just looked up and it was just like pickles and jalapenos. like all the colors
Most
of
people see stars.
Yeah. I see condiments.
Stop pickles.
But like the best part is that like all of the colors of Subway against like a freshly snowed ground are very pretty. Actually, like it looked like a Jackson Pollock.
I was going to say it looks like a big Pollock.
Some sort of
A little bit of my blood.
yeah, blood leaking from the back of my head.
Did you like try to hide it, or what did you do?
Well, like I did it right in front of the 3 main accounting offices, so there's always somebody in there. So as soon as I kind of was like sitting up, I saw people coming out to like help me up and brush off lettuce and
They just wanted the subs.
That's
But-
amazing.
but I haven't fought like I fall like that like once a century. Like it's
so you just go big.
yeah,
Not often.
I always like if I could ever be convicted of something clumsy, it would definitely be like I always almost fall, but I never fully fall, right? So like, and it's always at work. It's never anywhere else, and because it's the only place I really have any sense of urgency whatsoever. So I'm always like, I'll bounce off somebody, and you think I'm about to fall, but then I like half gainer it out, and then 6 Russian judges hold up a 9.6, and I carry on about my day.
I think taking a fall is when you reach the point in your life where your reflexes and muscles aren't sufficient enough to rebalance yourself when you
Yes.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then where you're like, oh, you try to adjust, but you fall anyway.
Like
then you've crossed the barrier from falling to taking a fall.
Like, why couldn't humans adapt the way cats do? That no matter what, you drop a cat and it always lands on its feet. Like,
We have a cat at home that just lets it happen.
really?
You just push him off something, and it's end of days. That's it for him.
He just crumbles
just-
like a deck
yeah.
of cards. That's
Yeah.
adorable. Like every cat that I've ever, well, the only 3 cats I've ever had in my life, like I can't huck burger
Oh, really?
and get like
You can't?
Well,
It's
Mike's
arm
not-
strength,
Mike's
right?
not strong enough.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
I mean, one would have a hard time with 35 pounds of feline, but like as big as he is, like I'll just like lightly like kind of fuck with him over the edge of the ottoman, and like he's right down. Like he lands like a gymnast. It's pretty impressive actually. He sticks the landing every fucking time. But enough about cats. Let's talk about movies.
Actually,
Oh, not yet? Okay.
Maybe we should just address. There seems to be a different voice in the room.
There is. It's a fairer tone. When
fairer
it
tone,
has
yes.
it's less baritone and more tenor
Yes.
to it. Who is that? That's over there, Mark.
This is Chrissy. This is
Hi there.
this is Chrissy Latimer, my better half, as some tend to say. And we've talked about her a lot on the show. Chrissy's gave us a lot of input, some good ideas. Some good
One might say
topics.
number 1 fan.
One may say.
Long-time listener, first-time podcaster.
Exactly. So she's joining us today for a show. We talked her into coming.
Welcome to the show, Chrissy.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited for this show specifically for 2 reasons. Because 1, you're here, but 2, this is going to be this one was one of those. Me and Mark were standing outside of an apartment after somebody else's podcast, and we were like, meh, no, meh, meh, meh. And it was like instantaneous. It took like 3 rounds of like, we should do this, no, we should do that, how about this, okay, done, and then we moved on. And those are my favorite
That
ones.
sounded like a parent-teacher conference on Peanuts.
I was just good.
Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown. All right, so let's start off the show like we always do. Jimmy, thank you for showing up again. Second
Hello.
podcast in 48 hours.
Oh, they can't get enough of me.
I can't get enough of you.
I don't blame you.
Your excitement is contagious. When you come in the room, I'll be sitting here and I'm like, I start to get excited, then I start to get in my head, and then that battle happens for a bit. But then Jimmy shows up with his fresh face, and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be fun.
Jimmy brings a good energy.
You do.
It's a neutral positivity. Just radiates neutral. It's like I don't feel bad.
You bring the Swiss into the room.
Yes.
You're Switzerland.
Just a strong neutrality.
I'm neither happy nor sad.
Tell my wife I said hello.
All right, Jimmy, what'd you watch this week?
I got around to watching Midsummer.
Oh,
yeah, I was
Midsummer or
what?
Midsummer?
I don't know, man.
You don't know. I just go to a movie.
Swedes, they just I don't know.
Refresh our memory.
Well, it's made by the same director who did Hereditary. Have you guys seen that one?
I have not.
I have.
Scared the hell out of me.
Scared the hell out of me too.
Definitely one of the most recent horror movies that
Psycho
genuinely
thriller.
scared the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, maybe I should actually check out Midsummer, and I didn't want to watch it because Hereditary was so scary. I was like, maybe I should just hold off for a while. My roommate was watching, and I'm like, start it over. I forced him to start it over. He was already 20 minutes in or so.
Dick.
Yeah. So he rewinds it, and it's interesting. Like I can't really think of another horror movie where it's all shot during the day.
That's interesting.
Like,
It's not the traditionally scary part of the day.
It's about these these American college students who go to Sweden, I believe it is, on just a fun trip, and they sit in this weird village that you feel is kind of culty from the beginning, but they just seem really nice and really positive. So it's like how I feel to you guys, I guess.
I bring a culty vibe.
I bring a very culty
Jimmy-esque village.
Yeah.
I assure you, pink drink has nothing else in it but water and crystal light particles, sir. Go on.
Oh, don't. If you haven't seen the movie, don't say pink drink.
Oh. Oh. Okay, tell us more.
You should. I'll say that you should definitely watch it. But these, you can eventually feel that these college students are starting to feel more and more uneasy with what's going on in this. I don't even want to call it a village. It's just like this area. I guess it is a village. It's an area in the woods where a bunch of people have set up camp.
I'll say village for 200,
Yeah.
Alex.
It just. I wouldn't say it's traditionally scary. Like I can't even think of a jump scare they did, but it was psychologically scary.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a melting of
Mind
one's ideas
A
of
mind fuck.
reality and such. Okay.
Yeah, near the end it definitely starts to get into mindfuck
Is
territory.
it?
That's for
Is
sure.
it gory?
No,
No.
I wouldn't call it gory. Just psychologically thrilling.
Like Paranormal Activity, psychologically thrilling. Like, is there an entity? Is there a culty curse? Is there? Like,
Are you playing 20 questions?
It is.
Am I a mineral?
That's a sore point for Mark, Jimmy, because a couple of weeks ago we went out and did headbands at the Board Game Cafe, and we were so you get a list of questions, and Mark was struggling.
Am I a mineral?
He got the heart. He got like he was a refrigerator. We all had people, and he was a refrigerator, I think, or some inanimate object.
I went fourth, and the first three were like all people. And so all they have to do is, okay, am I a person? Yes. Oh, am I a man or a woman? Or am I a man? Yes. Okay. I'm like, am I a person? No. Am I a thing? No. Am I a place? No.
What am I? This like psychological meltdown.
Fuck am I? Anyways,
Having a crisis.
we digress.
So, out of 10, how many weird culty cults would you give it?
I'd rate it a Jim Jones.
A Jim
Ooh.
Jones. A David
That's
Koresh.
really
That is
Kool-Aid
serious.
pink drink.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Just
Heaven's Gate with some Nikes going off on a comet kind of fucking shit.
There's no like supernatural anything. It's just this village, and they're very culty and very scary. Yeah.
You know, I do like a good cult series, a good cult TV show.
I'm glad you finished that
I,
sentence.
I do
love a
love
good cult.
Love me a good cult.
Which, what are you in right now?
Love some unrecognizable sacrifices and such.
Oh, good. Excellent.
No, but I like them because they usually tend to have 4 or 5 different characters with 4 or 5 different intersecting stories. I like that. I like multiple stories intersecting at the same time. There was one Aaron Paul did. The name leaves me, but it was a TV show.
Was it on the Sci-Fi Channel?
I think it was. Let me check this out here while I use left brain, right brain here. I wish we had a Jamie like Joe Rogan does. It'd be so nice. Anybody have a
Monica,
nephew?
Like a wobby wob?
A wobby wob? Like just somebody.
Just gonna hang out and check things for us.
All right, Aaron Paul. It was a really good show, and it was about like some sort of
Chrissy, do you want to come by when you're not podcasting and just fact check for us?
Fact check you guys. Woo.
No,
About
I don't
2
want to be
weeks
fact
of
checked. I just want someone to sit on the computer and
we're
look shit
wrong
up.
so often.
Week 3, Mark will be like, so we're actually good. It's okay. We're
Facts
all
aren't
right.
really a big part of our podcast.
Not part of what we do.
Oh, where the hell is it?
I could always talk about my movie while you search for that.
Yeah,
Mike.
go for it. I'm
You
done.
could- yeah. Move on. Yes.
I actually, for a rare time, I watched something in the horror genre
Ciao!
also. I watched, because I'd never seen the original It, so I watched like a month ago, 3 weeks ago, we watched It, not the TV series, but the movie remake.
Oh,
And we just watched It Chapter 2
Nice.
the other day. And I haven't read the book. Chrissy was a big proponent of it, and I didn't realize that the It 1 and It Chapter 2 are actually the It story, just divided in
Yeah.
half.
very much so.
Yeah, it was really, I was impressed by the way that they tied. The first one, they didn't really talk about them as adults at all. Like, they really divided it into the story as kids. Have you guys seen Chapter 2?
I've seen.
I haven't
I've
seen
only
chapter-
seen one, but feel free to spoil.
So
Yeah.
it was really cool that they really tied. Like, I thought it was gonna be, now we're gonna get them as adults, but in 2 they really do the back and forth juxtaposition of them as kids, and there's even so much so that there's scenes where they're in it as an adult, and then it'll be a character as an adult, and then they switch, and suddenly it's to the kid character of that,
interesting.
and then now they're kids, and then they bounce back and forth between the two ages.
So you
like
get two perceptions.
27 years apart. So yeah, it's really it was kind of cool. I'm not a huge horror fan, but it was just psychological enough and just interesting enough. And
Is it gorier than the first
No.
one?
no, it's
Have you
probably
guys have you guys read the book?
Yeah, not all the way
On and off the
through.
toilet as a kid, but like
Yeah.
never.
So there's still no orgy. No orgy.
oh, yeah.
Right.
I'm not gonna see this.
no
That,
12-year-old
that orgy was a big
No,
selling
yeah,
feature when
yeah,
I
still
found
no
that
orgy.
out.
And also Mark's dead inside.
Oh.
Because there's like 5 jump scares. And we're sitting close to each other, and I like scream and jump and yell because I don't like jump scares. And I look at him, and he's just
Calm as a monk.
sitting there. I'm like,
Just sitting
what's
there.
wrong with you? Why are you fucking dead inside? What is the matter with you?
I enjoyed the movie. It was good.
You know, I understand how he can do that sometimes because when I know there's a jump scare coming, I buckle into that mentality where I'm like, nothing will
Gripping your
scare
chair.
me, right? Exactly, like like white knuckling it. You know, I'm like, I'm
Oh my God.
nothing will scare me. But I get it. So the new actors they picked.
I think
You
they
guys think they were
cast
good?
really well. I think the best casting. What's the guy's name with the glasses? The goofy?
Richie.
Richie, who's played by who's the character?
Bill Hader.
No, but in Stranger Things, who played the original boy?
Oh, the
Is it Mikey from?
the skinny tall one.
Yeah, the
Kid
one
with
who's
the glasses.
dating.
Seth Green.
No,
Wait,
who's
what are we
dating
talking about?
11. No, the like.
Oh, from Stranger Things.
Yes.
Finn Wolfhard.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's plays Richie in number 1.
Yeah.
So Bill Hader as like an older Richie was
Seems like a good
awesome,
cast, right?
Right, because he's a comedian and then he grows up to be a professional comedian, and I think Bill Hader did a fucking awesome job.
I have a talent crush on Jessica Chastain too.
Oh.
Like, she really. I just recently watched Zero Dark 30 again, so I mean I know
That's
I'm
a
sure
good
that's not
movie.
the same actor.
It's a good movie.
You can't draw between the two, but she draws very commanding
I
performances.
think it was
so.
cast really well. I was a little questioning, like Bill Hader can get a little crazy sometimes, but no, it was well cast. The characters were interesting. It kind of sucked you in.
Are you gonna give the twist?
Which twist?
Richie.
Oh, I think
Oh.
I know what you're talking about.
So I think
don't,
at the
but
end of the movie we
spoiler
argued about
alert.
it. Yeah, spoiler alert. I felt, and I thought I picked heavily up on it during it, that I think Richie's gay.
Mark's super woke.
And I don't think that was the original intention in the book, but in the movies
I don't.
it really
I think this was an adaptation just for the movie.
yeah, it comes out to me that comes out to me
Ah.
during the course of the show that I think that Richie's really in love with Eddie. And
Yeah, they have a little back and forth.
yeah,
right?
That's fresh.
And
I think
apparently
that's
in the book
interesting.
is they're just really good friends. But I think it comes out that they always, they teased each other like little kids do. You always tease the person you like, right?
Right.
And it comes out, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But it's not an in your face sort of. It's here just because it is, which I enjoyed. They don't actually.
It is.
They don't say it, but They kind of allude to it a lot, and I'm like, oh, it's an interesting for the character. It adds like another wrinkle into the whole development. And I thought it was good. I'm not a huge horror fan, but I thought it reminds me. I was a big Nightmare on Elm Street fan when I was a kid, right? And there's scenes in it that are very Nightmare on Elm Street-esque, like with the old house and you know the larger than life Pennywise that's kind of coming after them, and creatures that kind of reminded me of some of the Freddy stuff. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, because Freddy did take like weird shapes and
sometimes
like,
he's walking in the hall and his arms start stretching out, and
or like
whatever's
his
in your
mouth
dream.
opens up, and it's like what he
he's-
controls the dream. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're totally right.
Yeah,
Chris.
he's
So
like
that's-
a puppet master. It's fun.
Yeah, and that's very what Pennywise does, right? Like he'll just adapt, and it is what you fear, sort of thing,
Yes,
right? So it's it reminded me of that, which I like. I like that kind of horror.
How many lost sailboats down a sewer drain?
How many? I'm. You know what? I would give it a solid like 8.5 red balloons out of 10.
Ooh, red balloons. Yeah.
Not 99, just 8.5.
Just 8.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that it was
Off balloons.
it was funny still.
It
Like
still
it
had
did
some-
have
yeah.
funny parts, which is nice. 'Cause
Well, they are like McAvoy's got some comedy chops. Hater, I mean, I've seen him on a
James
skit or
McAvoy,
two.
that's his name.
McAvoy.
He can act with his face better than most people can do with their whole
Yes.
body and voice.
McAvoy?
very good.
Yeah. Like, it's
McAvoy.
incredible.
I caught it recently. Somebody was making mention that just for his act, like for the amount of characters he played in Glass and in the original, it's eluding me right
Split?
now. Split. Thank you. You deserve an award for switching in and out of characters
Absolutely.
that
And
much.
flawlessly.
Flawless. Like there's
Yeah.
no break. It's just he's all fluid.
And he plays a young Professor Xavier. Right?
does.
That's not.
He does.
That's
He
where
does.
I
Great
recognize him from. I
Have you
totally,
seen his big like his kind of mainstream launch? Because he's one of the across the pond actors who did a lot of work before, but a lot of English stuff, a lot of United Kingdom stuff. The Last King of Scotland.
No, it's been on my list forever to watch, and I just haven't seen
True
it.
story. It's a biopic.
Yes.
And we're still out. The judge is still out on biopic versus biopic between
Biopic.
and biopic. But it's a crazy true story, and he does amazing. Like it's one of the last I feel good biopics that really encompasses enough of a whole story.
That's cool. Yeah,
So-
no, it was good. It was the humor was there. It was it had some interesting nods to back to Stephen King. Like Stephen King does a cameo in it.
Of course he
and
does.
McAvoy's character is a writer as an adult.
Of course he is.
Right? And they make a comment about how everybody hates his books because the endings suck.
Yeah,
And-
he's supposed to be Stephen King.
Yeah, he's
right?
basically turned into Stephen King, right?
That's smart.
And they make a bunch of jokes about it, like, you know, he's in a shop, and Stephen King's, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but Stephen King's like the owner of like an antique kind of a shop, a pawn shop, and he knows he walks in and he's like, oh, this is my childhood bike, I want to buy my bike, and he goes to the guy at the counter and it's Stephen King. He says, oh, you're so and so, whoever the author is. He goes, oh, that's what it is, and he says, well, since you got a bunch of money, you can afford to pay, you know, big bucks for the bike and blah, blah, blah. And McAvoy's sitting at the counter and he's kind of flipping through some things, and there's a copy of his book. He's like, oh, you want me to sign this too? And Stephen King goes, nah, didn't like the ending.
And in the beginning of the movie, they're making fun of his book that they've turned into a movie, and they're like, all your movies are shit.
And who's the director? It's a well-known director too. I didn't look it
Well,
up.
there's so much going on. Like, I mean, obviously everyone knows how much he hated the original Shining, so now he's praising Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
So Stephen King has been known to be like, that's shit. Like, he does not pull any punches. So
That's good.
Yeah.
I think that's a great joke to make because
Yeah.
you know he doesn't take himself too seriously.
Right.
I guess.
So I'd say, yeah, even if you're not into the horror genre per se, it's not. It's horror for people that aren't into horror. Like,
Yeah.
it's horror thriller.
It's not hard horror.
It's
Yeah,
smart
horror
Exactly.
adjacent.
It's
Horror
smart.
adjacent.
It's adjacent. No, there's no Friday the 13th.
No Jason.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It's horror of Freddy.
Anyways, it was good.
Awesome. Chrissy,
Hi.
I'm going to ask you this for the first time. It's going to feel great. What'd you watch this week?
So we had movie day on Saturday.
I love
and
those.
Yeah, it was good. It ended poorly with John Wick 3.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So the bit of backstory is that John Wick 1 is probably in my top 10 movies. Love it. Super funny. I like incognito humor where it's not right in your face, but people say sort of low key funny things or they do things.
It's not right on the nose.
That's right. And you have to be a little bit intelligent to get it. So super excited to watch John Wick 3 based on that same premise. Movie starts. There was 6 words in the first 20 minutes. The rest was literally fighting. So he's excommunicado. So everybody's trying to kill him.
Yeah, he's running from every hitman on the planet at this
That's
point,
right.
right? Yeah, okay.
Literally the coolest part of this entire movie was these really well-trained dogs in a fight scene for about 15 minutes. Like it took all of the cool nuancy stuff from John Wick and just there was maybe 20 minutes of dialogue.
I honestly think that there
Wow,
might
it's
be
like almost a silent film.
there might be for every word in the script that gets spoken, there might be somebody who gets shot in the head.
And blood spatter
Wow.
everywhere.
Like there's
That's a
that
pretty equal
much
spread.
violence. Without a word of a lie, there's probably 4 separate fight scenes that lasted over 10 minutes apiece.
Easy.
It's like they took what everybody liked from the first one and just blew it up, right?
It's the
Right.
scene from his house in the first one
Yeah.
for an entire movie. And it's a neat story. I don't want to say you go
No,
like we
it's
said the same
fine.
thing.
We really liked the separate world, right? Like at the hotel with the coins, and you make a phone call and do it, and
Well,
say
you
need
get
a
these little snippets of his previous life in cool ways, right? You're like, oh, there's a hotel for all these hitmen that you have a membership to
That's
that
right.
he just goes to for solace because he's on the run in the first one. So you're like, that's cool. Like that's expanding a universe as you go.
And it is it number 2 where the hitman goes to try to kill him and he
Yes.
kills the guy in the Continental.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, which is a breach of their policy.
Which entered John Wick 3. He's now on the run
Yes.
from everybody.
So what you do, and we found fascinating, was that you get this it's all about the secret world that hides in plain sight of the,
Yes.
And all
the
the
hitmen
rules.
and everybody that's part of the high table, and they follow the rules of the high table. So you get lots of glimpses into all across the
Continents.
country, the world.
Sure.
That there's a series of these hotels and locations and
Oh.
stuff that
There's a brotherhood, so to speak.
yeah, and there's like
The coolest part was
currency.
Halle Berry had 2 German Shepherds, and they were super well trained. And in one of the 20-minute fight scenes, her dogs fight with her, and they like run up stuff and jump off of it.
Oh, does
and
she do the
rip
kind
out
of tricks where
people's
like
throats.
she'll get down on an angle and they'll like run off her back?
100%.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
She just calls their name and they like dive at people, rip out their throat.
They
like
munch on like 20 different nut sacks.
oh yeah, they're all about the dick. Those dogs were all
yeah,
about
they go
the
right
D.
for the dick.
Brazilian nuts.
Lots of Moroccan nuts.
Lots of Moroccan
That's
nuts.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Russian nuts? Any Russian nuts?
Some no, it's pretty much maybe a little bit of Russian nuts, but mostly Moroccan nuts.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm just trying to kind of keep up with euphemisms.
But
I'm gonna
without a
stop.
word of I think that scene, the fight scene in Morocco there is 20 minutes long.
there's
it feels
also
like.
a fight scene at the end where he fights 2 guys, and I was bored when he was fighting the 2 guys, and he still had to fight the main guy. And I kept looking at Mark and saying, he still has one more fight.
It felt like a video game where you had like so many like underbosses and you couldn't get to the boss fight.
Literally.
Yeah.
was-
Overdeveloped, so to speak.
yeah.
And it's probably because I had high expectations that I was more disappointed because I loved I've watched the first one.
The
20
first one's
times.
a sleeper. It's a low budget. We hope this does well. Like there was, I guarantee you the studio was like, sure, yes, it'll make money because you have Keanu, but don't expect the story to do well.
Right.
Just expect Keanu to be holding the torch. And then it blew up.
Yeah.
And that, I think John Wick is doing this interesting thing with other actors where now like Liam Neeson is getting action roles, right? Like they're turning some of these older characters in Hollywood into a franchise now where
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
you can have this edgy past and you can build this series around it and make these action movies that are, like you say, one long fight scene. And I thought John Wick 1 was one long fight scene when you get it for the first time. I can't imagine what 3 would be without any like the Expendables. They're almost making fun of the industry that is
Yeah.
action with all of the
Yeah.
overtopness.
But then they make 3 of them.
You still have to have a story if you're going to make 3 of
Yeah.
them. Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
What's the I know you love Tom Cruise. What's a Tom Cruise series that I really like? Jack Reacher.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I love Jack Reacher, and I thought that they were similar in the way that there is a lot of fight scenes, but the dialogue they use is witty, it's smart, it's funny, it doesn't take itself too seriously. I feel like this movie lost all of that.
I think the best thing for me maybe was that cameo, like that Lawrence Fishburne appears.
Is there a fight
Yeah.
scene with the two of them?
Well, he's in the second
No.
one, right?
Just gets his
Is he
face
in the
slashed
second
up.
one?
I think so.
He makes
Yeah.
his appearance in the second one, but is more heavy. Isn't somebody else in it too? Why do I feel no? Okay, I'm just wishing Carrie Ann Moss was in it at this one. That's a complete wishful
Who's
thought.
the
right
lady?
there.
Who's the lady in the ballet studio who's in John Wick 3?
Oh, oh God, it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyways, I'll check.
Yeah,
move
okay.
on.
Okay.
What'd you watch this week, Michael?
Well, I really wanted to ask her how many Bill out of Ted she gave John Wick 3,
Oh
but
my God.
How many Teds out of Bills?
yeah, how many Teds out of Bills?
I'm not sure I know what
How many
that means.
Rufuses?
But
Bill.
it,
Okay, I'm
no,
just
I know
making a
the
bad
movie, but
yeah, joke. You don't need to know what that means.
it doesn't get very many. It gets like four.
Okay.
Four.
I appreciate your
Teds.
criticism of that because it is a very popular movie. So to
Angelica Houston.
Angelica Houston. Oh, she's a dame.
I think it got less because I wanted it to be so much better.
Okay.
You know, when you
yeah.
really are like, yes.
This is going to be great.
No, yeah.
That sucks.
When things get too long in the tooth, Game of Thrones is a prime example. You phone in your last one, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, I'll sign on for 2 more. You get your trilogy, and then you probably like we as people are watching movies, going, okay, these guys are really locked into what they're doing, but they're signing deals for their next job halfway through writing something. So if they get amped on something else, I mean, yeah, it's safe to say that they may stop giving a shit and lay off the gas, so to speak. And yeah, you've got
Plus,
that.
I maybe shouldn't have listened to your stuntman episode because I was like, he's throwing himself to that glass and it looks stupid.
It's interesting when that happens. When you get a little tidbit, you're like, oh, I'm gonna look at this differently.
You start becoming. There's so much fight scenes. You start becoming overly critical of their fighting.
Yes.
Like you start seeing points where like the guy's holding the block prior to the kick being thrown, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that seems a little obvious.
Editing, somebody in editing. Was there a coffee cup left in this scene too? But to answer your question, Jimmy, what did I watch this week? I am in love with Fleabag. I can't watch enough. Fleabag is on Amazon. You're all looking at me like I'm talking about my cat.
Michael has Amazon.
Yeah. Whoa. Yes.
Actually, he just has this bag with fleas. It's
It's crazy to watch.
keeps it in his closet.
Hours of entertainment.
So itchy.
Yeah, it's my laundry bag full of fleas that I'm just standing watching. No, Fleabag is Phoebe Waller-Bridge writes it. She stars in it, and Fleabag is the female version, I believe, of Californication.
Oh.
She's a female Hank Moody, and she's trying to make it through life at a certain point. Her backstory is she has a sister who is perfect, and I air quote that hard. Full of mental health disorders and like anxiety, and Fleabag, who we fall in love with, is very the opposite who Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character is, and she's just a horrible human being. She does a lot of really bad things. It's fun to watch a shitty person mitigate through life is what I'm getting at, and that's what this show is all about. You fall in love with her character because she's trying to be better.
Yeah.
But like it's very English. It's very highbrow. It's very smart humor that you have to listen to, Chrissy.
Perfect.
Shauna got me hooked on it, and like she'd watched it once, and I remember it being on in the background, and was like tuning in and out because there's some outrageous things that are said in this show, but said with an English accent, so it's proper, right? You're like, did they just say that?
You're not offended.
As opposed to what the fuck did they just say, right? Like it comes off the tongue easier. And I mean, prime example, there's a priest in the second season that is marrying her father to her new stepmother, and he's an alcoholic priest. He loves to party, loves to have a good time, and then she falls in love with him, and then she's trying to deflower a priest while the priest is trying to keep the new marriage of her parents on track so that he can officiate it. If you like really dirty, lowbrow, smart humor, watch it.
Do we have Amazon?
Yes, we do.
Perfect.
It's 2 seasons, binge worthy.
You can come over.
The character kind of reminds me of when you start talking about it, like Frank from Shameless.
Frank from Shameless is another great. Not as not as downtrodden. Like she has a cafe, but she's bad at business, right? And she has an ex-boyfriend who's just a pussy and keeps coming back, and she keeps manipulating him to coming back, and I know Mark loves this. I don't know about Jimmy or Chrissy, but it breaks the fourth wall all the fucking time. You are part of the show. She's narrating her life to you the entire time, which is the big hook.
That's cool.
Because there's one scene in the second season when she turns around, spoiler alert, to look at the camera, and the person she's interacting with went, "Who are you looking at?" And she's like, "What? You can see that? You can't see that. Who's there?" And then all of a sudden, she's afraid you've been outed to the other person on the show. Super smart. And she did her episode of SNL was priceless. Having seen her before seeing Fleabag, I wish I'd seen the other way around.
Oh, okay.
Because I would have got
You knew what to expect.
I would exactly, and she's just so dry, and it's great.
The breaking the fourth wall, I think where I fell in love with it was House of Lies.
Yeah, House of Cards or House of Lies. That's what Don Cheadle, right?
Don Cheadle
Yeah.
and Kristen Bell.
Yes.
And have you watched the series?
No,
Great
saw it.
series. And they break the fourth. They're in the middle of a scene, and suddenly everybody will freeze in the scene except like Don Cheadle's character, and he'll narrate to the audience and he'll explain what's going on in his mind, and he's gonna like, this guy thinks I'm gonna go along with him, and I'm just trying to fuck him over, and he'll talk to you about, and then he'll go back to his position, and then the scene starts again, and they do it in a really smart way. That's awesome.
Any fourth wall breaking show,
watch House of Lies, you'll love it.
Okay.
The characters are fantastic.
I do want to press on to change what I said about Remembrance Day earlier in the podcast. I'd like to make up for it by dedicating the trailer of the week to because it's Remembrance Day. So the trailer of the week is dedicated.
Trailer of the week.
It's Fantasy
Yes,
Island.
thank you. I forgot Chris isn't here, so yeah, so it's dedicated to all the. I'm trying to dedicate to the veterans, Mark.
Sorry.
Jesus, Murphy.
Have some respect, Mark.
I will give you a moment of
That's
silence.
99% of our listener base.
A moment of silence on a podcast is the worst idea ever. So we'll skip that. We'll just dedicate the trailer of the week to all those who have served.
We're going to give a moment of silence, but we're just going to cut it.
Yeah. Trust us, it'll be there.
We did it, though.
We did it.
Yeah.
And we're back.
And we're back, yes.
Wow.
All right. So let's start off with the trailer of the week, which is Midway.
The Japanese are planning something bigger.
So what's the target?
We believe it's Midway.
Washington disagrees.
Washington is wrong. If we lose,
The Japanese own the West Coast. Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles. Will burn.
The World War II biopic about a battle that really isn't known that much. Everyone knows Pearl Harbor, but nobody knows the retaliation from Pearl Harbor, which is what this is about. So, Jimmy, what do you think?
Oh man, I think I thought the trailer was interesting. I mean, it seems like another war movie, and they always seem to be nominated for Oscars, so I'm sure it will be.
There's a serum. There's a recipe there, right? That you can clearly tell they've hit the buttons on.
I don't know if I'll see it in theaters, but if it was on, I don't know if it was on TV or if it was on Netflix, I'd probably check it out.
Do you like war movies in general or no?
Okay. I'm a young person. I don't have to fight in wars.
Well, yeah, okay. So, yeah.
It could never happen.
It'll never happen to me.
I don't like wars. Why would I have to experience a war? I'm not going.
Wars are what happened in history.
Yeah.
I learned it in a book.
It's
Yesterday
history because
war.
it's over.
Yeah. Fucking history.
War is
Okay.
over.
It's so yesterday.
We haven't had one of those in like 40 years.
Except all the ones that are going on right now.
Right now.
Yeah. All right, Mark, what do you think?
You know what? I'm with Jimmy on the not being a big war movie fan.
Okay.
But I like seeing the trailer. The cinematography looks pretty fucking outstanding.
It does.
Like the way that it was shot, some of those like dive bombing shots where they're dropping the bombs, and the like this it clearly CGI'd to
the
no
tits.
fucking end,
Yeah.
but it's CGI'd with old planes and real machine gun fire, which is kind of an interesting thing because CGI tends to get the rap of being futuristic.
Yeah, like filling in what, like, you don't CGI something from the 60s.
Yeah.
You CGI something that's never been.
Unless it's James Dean.
Unless it's Joe.
We can
Or
talk about
Elvis.
that sometimes too.
we talked about that on the real
Did
talk.
you? The
We
hot
did,
button
yeah.
topic?
Yeah. That's,
But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool that it's like tons of CGI, but like old stuff from what Pearl Harbor would be like 41,
43, I think.
Somebody, I wish we had fact checking. This is probably one we should know.
It's Remembrance Day. This one, let's get right, okay?
But
All
it was,
right.
I thought it was interesting. Again, I'm not going to go to the theaters and see it, but I for sure watch it when it comes out at home.
Chrissy? Oh, before you go on, 1941. We're all wrong.
I
Sorry,
said
those
41.
who served. You said 41?
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't want to be alone. Chrissy, what are your
You hate that
thoughts?
sound.
I have a little bit of a problem with putting out a movie and being like, on this Remembrance Day, we're gonna do honor to our veterans by putting out this movie. It's a little like,
Yeah.
it makes me feel a little weird inside. Yeah, like, does anyone think that a war veteran went today to go watch this movie?
Midway, probably not.
Somebody
Well,
with
go relive.
PTSD from
Right.
that
Yeah.
day. Like
It's not. They're trying to make it for them, but it's clearly not,
It's not for them. I don't think any of those people are like, oh, memories.
Well, with
Oh.
that said, we're not dedicating the trailer towards all the veterans today.
I feel like a jerk. Sorry.
We're mad.
No, don't be. I get your
we're
point,
mad
though.
at
Your point.
producers.
But
Mad
there
at
is,
the timing.
there is a lot of vets that have made that pilgrimage back to like Normandy and
Yeah.
the beaches
Yeah,
of
that's very
Europe
true.
and stuff like that.
I just don't think they're doing it like, oh, pew,
They're
pew,
using
pew,
they're-
pew. Remember that time? Like,
They're
it's
taking advantage of a marketing
pew
ploy.
pew pew is the guns. But
that's literally what I see when I
in
watch
41, that's what the gun sounded
Isn't
like.
that racist YouTuber?
Pew pew pew.
That's pew D pie.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Too many
No,
pews and
I
pies.
don't like that
for
thing
me to-
either.
Well, no, Chris, you make a good point. Like using Veterans Day to release a movie that probably some of these people either experienced or have family that you know are around that have heard stories. That's cheesy. That's Hollywood being Hollywood is what that is. That is above the line studio going. How do we make this movie make money? Traditionally, in a run for award season, right?
Yeah,
Like
it
November,
seems
December.
Like they just, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're hyping on that.
What better time of the year really to release a war movie?
You don't release
Fair.
it in August, like
Yeah.
you know. On
They don't fight wars in August.
No one
Jimmy,
fights
wars
in the
are
summer.
seasonal. Yes, sorry.
Summer's off.
They take summers off. They're all
Too
teachers.
hot.
They're teachers in war. Just summer's off.
I always assumed teachers just sat at their desk really quiet until we came back.
They never leave, Jimmy.
They just
They're
power
just
down.
waiting. They power down.
Teachers are people.
Well, my thoughts on it. I love a good war movie. I do. I love a good period piece, specifically with this.
What are we talking about?
We're
What's
talking
happening right now?
about time periods.
Oh, sorry.
We're not talking about a period.
That's not why I came on.
I like a good war movie, mostly because I like history. I like that history because that World War II specifically is when I think humanity realized that war is profitable and like the more World War I was supposed to be the war to end all wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
World War
And
II
then it
happened
didn't.
because of World War I, and then everyone realized you start one war, somebody loses, somebody gets pissed off and comes back for vengeance. So
Right.
like I like looking at these movies and seeing what Hollywood can take from such a fucking travesty and educate you, right? And
Yes.
make it entertaining at the same time. Just release it on a different day.
I
you
do
fuckers.
like that it maybe like I'm not a big fan of although the cinematography look good in the war scenes, it's kind of like John Wick. I like the story of war movies more than
Yes.
I like the battling of war
Like
movies.
Private Ryan.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
I like a
God.
good story in the background, like Enigma,
Memphis Belle.
right? I haven't seen that.
Oh.
I don't think, but I like something like Enigma where they talk about like the codes and the secret, you know, like the Enigma machine, right?
Oh, you're talking about with Benedict Cabbage
Yeah.
Patch.
Cabbage Patch,
called?
yes.
Yeah.
The Imitation Game.
Imitation
it.
Game. Thank you. I was going to call it the Impression Game.
The Illusionist.
Oh goodness.
No, but yeah,
What was the other period piece magic movie?
we talked about this.
The Prestige.
The Prestige, the Illusion. Are we on what podcast are we doing, Jimmy? I love this.
Welcome to the Magic Show.
But you're definite right. Like a good.
That joke was made on Edward Norton's the podcast I was just really listening to, because Dax refers to something and he says the Prestige is like, oh, I should have said The Illusion.
Yes. No.
The one that starred you.
Yeah. No. That was my favorite part of that fucking episode too.
Oh man.
Anyways.
But yeah, a good story from history that includes. So this battle, which is essentially the revenge for, like, because Pearl Harbor, everyone's like, oh, it was a sneak attack. It was very well planned. And after that was the Midway, which is the second, which is the West Coast of the United States. Like, can you imagine had that, like, all of these stories that we hear about, right? Which is why I love them so much, because you get to go back and be like, all right, well, you've heard people say, could you imagine if this happened and the Japanese had done this? Well, no, I go to a movie to imagine it.
And I watched Man in the High Tower.
Perfect example. That was right in.
If you haven't seen it, Man in the High Tower?
No,
it's a series where is if World War II happened and Japan and Germany won. So Japan actually owns half of the U.S. and Germany owns half of the U.S.
Yeah.
And there's like
it's a big real estate battle.
like demilitarized zone or something in the middle, and it's kind of interesting in that sense. So if they would have won and took the West Coast and Germany would have took the East half,
then you have Middle America.
Yeah.
You have Utah.
Hey guys.
Yeah, it's cool. The story's cool. That's the part I like about it.
All right. And I would definitely, I'd go to that. That's a Christmas movie with mom for me.
Oh, hey, there you go.
That's one of those. Like, I wouldn't normally go see it in the theater with Shauna or you guys or whatever. Like, it wouldn't draw me in. But like, mom, Kevin, me, Shauna, Christmas Day, nothing to do, go see that movie. That would
Midway?
Midway. Yep, definitely. And because
I feel like I want to be at your Christmas.
Right?
What is it?
I'll let you guys know what day we go. We usually
Perfect.
Yeah, it's usually Christmas Day, hence Christmas Day. But moving on, let's get in the fucking debate.
Oh, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. So this debate, I had been playing with. I love motivational speeches. It's a big fucking. If there's a motivational speech in a movie, I start to cry like an uncontrollable baby.
You motivate us every day, Mike.
Oh.
I cry every time I leave here.
Do we need to talk after, Jimmy?
For completely different reasons.
So I took after the motivational speech and was like, how do we apply it to what we normally do in everyday situation? And I thought, well, just take that speech and shake it on its head and apply it in a completely different light. I think that's what we kind of came up
That's
with,
right,
isn't it, Mark?
Yeah.
So you
Take the idea of the motivational speech
and what is explained in that speech, and then
apply it to something not
like Girl Guide cookie selling.
the example that we kept going around is the Glengarry Glen Ross sales pitch.
Always be closing.
To Girl Guides about to head out for their cookie selling.
So
right. Always bring cookies.
Always bring cookies. That was these were some of the things, like when you start reciting off like random bits of movie knowledge.
Milk is for closers.
Milk is put that fucking milk down, right? So without pushing this any longer and explaining it and just doing it, Jimmy, you want to start us off with what speech you took from one of your favorite movies and what scenario in real life you were applying it to?
Oh God, it had to be a real life scenario.
No, it didn't. It didn't. With you, I don't expect
it can be as made up as you want.
It can be whatever you want.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so I picked Rod Kimball's speech from Hot Rod when he's preparing for his last big jump to the crowd.
Frank, I'm gonna get you better, you old sack of shit. And then I'm gonna uncork the ass beating of a lifetime on you. And you will respect me.
He should I read the speech?
Yeah.
I'm gonna I actually laid out a bit of a story first. So let's let me take you back. It's a dark night. It's a dark, maybe not stormy night. The moon is out, and a young Bruce Wayne and his family just left the movie theater. They went to see, what did they see?
What did they see that fateful night?
They went to go see The Mask of Zorro, starring Antonio Banderas.
So they were already disappointed.
They were very disappointed already. They're walking through Crime Alley, as they do. Spoilers if anyone hasn't seen or heard of Batman.
Why would you cut through Crime Alley?
Honey,
Poor choices.
this way's quicker. Let's go down Crime Alley. Dun, dun, dun.
So they're walking, they're chatting about the film. It was lovely. And then out of nowhere, his parents just get mugged and murdered, same as usual.
Same story 9 times over.
Same old. I'm sure we'll get a reboot soon and we'll see it again.
I've never seen a child robbed of his parents as many times as I've seen Bruce Wayne
Right?
robbed of his.
They change everything else about the story
Just
except
not
his
that.
parents getting murdered.
Yeah.
Coming out of the
Must
theater.
be an
Need
orphan.
that heartbreaking fucking moment.
If he's not an orphan, it's not worth it.
Rewrite.
So we're sitting with Bruce Wayne at the crime scene. He is very upset.
We have access to a crime scene.
Yeah, well,
I love your
mean,
stories.
If you consider every movie ever access to
Okay.
a crime scene.
Yes, technically.
And you see a mustachioed man walking towards him.
Ooh,
A man you
I
fancy.
felt you were going to say mustachio. I don't know why.
a man you assume is Jim Gordon.
Oh.
But when he comes into the light, you see it as Rod Kimball.
I love it.
He rides up on his moped. He rides up on his moped, doing donuts, so forth, and he speaks to Bruce. He sees that Bruce is clearly upset with his parents being murdered, and he says,
Pretty observational motherfucker.
he sees a chance. He sees a chance for a young boy to become something more than he needs to be. So he looks at Bruce and he says, "What is destiny? What is fate? I dedicate this jump to fathers and father figures everywhere. And I hope that in some small way, all of their sons manage to jump them. Frank, I'm going to get you better, you old sack of shit. And then I'm going to uncork the ass beating of a lifetime on you, and you will respect me. Peace." Bruce, a little bit shaken and confused, not knowing who this man is,
Who's Frank?
or Frank for that matter. But Bruce heard the word fatherhood and got excited, much like I did preparing for this. And Bruce sees Rod as someone that he can admire, someone who he could really grow into. And my whole point of this, you guys,
Is Rod wearing a cape at this point? Or?
Yeah, he wears a cape in the movie as well, of course. It's got his name on it.
How do you think Bruce figured out he wanted to wear a cape?
I'm putting all the pieces together. Zorro, mask,
This is the
cape.
You know what this is?
It's full circle.
I know exactly. This is the Hollywood story of Bruce Wayne.
Not what I had intended, but I'll go for it.
So he's looking up to
He's really looking up to Rod, and he feels a sense of pride. And the whole purpose of this is to show that Bruce doesn't have to become Batman. And I truly believe that without Batman, Gotham City would pretty much just be a place with petty crime. I think that the number of mass murders would go down without a Batman.
Okay, so you're saying
Yeah.
Batman's the catalyst.
I believe so, for this argument.
This one and only time.
And I think that Rod coming in and speaking to him and showing him that there's another way ends up teaching Bruce that he doesn't have to be a superhero, but he could be instead a stuntman. Yeah.
Oh.
So growing up with Bruce's huge influence and money, he is able to help Rod with his stunts and become one of the greatest stunt assistants ever, eventually growing into his own stuntman once Rod perishes in the end. So Bruce Wayne ends up becoming his own Robin, perhaps.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
Very
round.
meta.
That's very round robin.
Yeah.
came
Keep
right
up now,
back
Mark.
around Robin.
So yeah, I think with Bruce not becoming a superhero and becoming instead a legendary stuntman, much like Rod's father in the movie, who Rod thought was Rod thought his father was Evel Knievel's setup man, like stuntman beforehand. Like he would test all the bikes and all the jumps and make sure they were safe. It turns out he wasn't. He just ended up meeting him at a festival and choked on some pie and died.
He was his Mr. Fuji to his Super Dave, so to speak.
Exactly. So Rod, seeing that, he thinks, oh, now I have a chance to teach this young man about some lovely life lessons and who he wants to be.
Jump your dad.
Like how to jump your dad.
And like how to jump your dad.
Yeah.
Metaphorically,
Exactly.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like not beat the shit
You
out
mean
of
like
him
surpass your dad, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you are not going to physically jump his bones. You can become
That's your
more than your
default?
father. You don't have to be your father.
You can just jump your father.
You can leave Gotham. And overall, I think that's
Can
what was
you?
really important. Oh, can Bruce?
If I was a criminal mastermind and I could leave Gotham, I just would.
Right.
Like, go where there's no Batman.
Wait a minute. I think
Well,
I know
now
this.
there isn't a Batman, so
Hang on. What is it? Location.
Exactly.
do where else are they going to do
Chapter
crime?
1 of the
How to be a criminal
How to
mastermind.
go to criminal mastermind
Location.
location.
You want the Penguin to go do crime in like Wilmington, Delaware?
Yeah, there's a low sense of crime here. Send them where it's needed.
Finally. Yeah, I think that's my. Was anyone timing me?
I am. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, we're watching. We can.
Oh dear God. Let me improv then.
No, you're good.
Oh, I'm
You're
good.
Yeah,
All right.
you're
Yeah.
totally good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you
That was
guys
good
like
stuff.
to shit on me then?
Again,
Not
figuratively.
particularly, no.
Cool.
What segment are we introducing on this show by jumping our father's bones and shitting on Jimmy?
Wow.
Do you need to
I
talk,
meant
Jimmy?
the
Do you want-
idea, not on me.
This segment brought to you by the Cleveland Steamer.
Who paid for that ad?
I do like it. I just
Wouldn't that be a horrible name for like a new carpet cleaning?
Oh, that's the best name for a carpet cleaning service, the Cleveland Steamers.
Sweet
No
Christ.
stain is too whatever, but the
Yeah.
Cleveland
Wow.
Steamers.
Yeah, we've seen it all.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You just feel like your brain's been opened.
That's
Jimmy.
disgusting.
Okay, well let me pick you apart here. I don't have much, but what I do have is, as much as you say that Bruce Wayne would not be Batman, having gone down this path of stunthood. Yes, okay, with Batman becomes a level of crime. Like
Batman-
crime rises because Batman's there. is
He
what I'm getting.
created
Yes.
Joker, by the way.
It's in a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
It's like when you try to go after power, other people try to be more powerful, right? So yes, creating of the Joker, so to speak. But at the same time, I feel that's eventually going to happen for Gotham if we're going on.
You're giving
story.
Gotham a crutch.
It needs one. I mean, with alleyways named crime, it kind of needs a helping
Crime alley.
hand.
That's just every alley, though.
Okay, so crime alley is just what an alley is. It's full. Okay, all right. It's not just a crime alley next to 42nd Street.
I'll take a right at Crime Alley.
No, you won't, because look what happened to Bruce. But yeah, that's my only. You are robbing Gotham eventually of a Cape Crusader that's needed. Aside from that, it's a great fucking choice for a speech, because really you could make whatever euphemisms you want about jumping your father and tell young Bruce what to do. So I like it.
I'm
down
a
with
fan
it.
of the speech and the whole, like, I see it in the very figurative way of being more than your father was.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I know Rod wants to kick his father's ass on the way up, sort of step on him to get ahead, if you will, to prove that he can be better.
It's all
and at the
about
same time
respect.
earn the respect of his father.
With all due respect.
With all due
However
respect.
much is due.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know about I love the story. But
thank you.
I don't know if I buy that a young Bruce Wayne, moments after his father is murdered, that this caped man rolling up on a moped would really be that much of an inspiration to him.
That's me too.
know,
I
I
don't
mean,
think
he's
you-
doing donuts.
Yeah, I don't think you give him enough credit. Like, jump your dad, kick his ass. Okay, all right,
My
that's
dad's
it.
dead. I already
I won't
passed
become
that.
Batman.
I feel that it is a very broken moment for Bruce. So whatever's said to him in that moment might
Will
work.
really stick,
It
right?
will really stick. So you know what? Like you are taking advantage of him at a very
Oh yeah.
prime moment to
Grooming, if you will.
somewhat to make him do a shift change.
Please
right?
edit that out.
And in that moment, you've decided he should jump his dad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything needs a catalyst, right? Everything needs a starting block.
I'm sensing I'm becoming problematic.
I feel as though you could have used that as a catalyst for him to become Batman, right? Because you're saying, well, you can be more than your father was, and a lot of the portrayals of his father, the senior Wayne, would say that he wasn't the best man. Like some of them show like he was good, but some show him as kind of an evil big business.
I think he's part of the GOP.
Right?
Definitely.
a little bit,
He's
right?
a red stater for sure.
I mean, but as we saw with the Joker, that you see it through the eyes of the Joker, so you never know what's reality and what's not.
That's
right,
true.
right?
Yeah.
So But I thought that could be like, well, you can be more than your father was, and you can succeed. And you're like, yes, I'm gonna.
Rod
and then
makes him
I
into
went,
it.
yes, and I became Batman because Rod told me that I could be more than just what my father was. And then he took the aspects of being more than his father and the stunts and the cape and the pomp and circumstance
Bigger
from
than
Rod.
life.
Yeah, the bigger than lifeness from Rod, and became the Batman.
Chrissy, you got any jabs you want to
I think
hit Jimmy with?
Shit.
Well,
That's
he gets
what
a
mine
little
is. Everything Mark just said is mine now.
All right, we've never really allowed for that, but you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, that's how the game changes. Make the rules as we go on the fly. All right, okay. Chrissy, do you have anything you want to say
I
before
think that's it. I think I was a little bit lost to jump your dad and kick his ass after he's just been recently murdered. But other than that, it's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Mark,
Hey, how
you're
you
up,
doing?
buddy.
Yeah, so I was, I had something in mind leading into this, motivational wise. And then I just didn't feel right in my soul. In my soul. So what I ended up going with is a little speech from a movie. It was the actor Peter Lynch, and who played the character Howard Beale in the movie Network, 1976.
So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!"
Starring young Robert Duvall.
Young Faye Dunaway.
Faye Dunaway.
Bitch.
Which is basically a story about an aging news broadcaster who goes into depression at the state of affairs of the world at that time.
And of his ratings.
Yes. And he's about to be let go from the station, and it seems as though in some ways I think that the character from Anchorman that kind of mirrored this thing, right?
Ron
Burgundy.
Burgundy?
Well, remember he gets fired.
Burgundy?
When Burgundy gets fired from
Yes,
air,
he
it
did,
kind of
yeah.
it's this is that sort of character where he's like, I'm gonna go off and fade into nothingness, and
If I can't
You
tell
know?
the news, I am nothing.
exactly his entire persona and personality and his being is tied into this character. So he's going to be let go, and he just finally speaks his mind, right? Like you said, he just gets on the air and he's like,
What does he say?
The speech that I'm going to say is not what he says when he's actually on there. He returns in the middle of the night in his pajamas and an overcoat because he has this inspiration, right?
As any old man should.
Yeah.
I
And
hope
he
to
gets
be
up
that
and he gets up
impressive.
and he speaks to he speaks to more than just the city, I guess. He speaks to the nation on
Yeah.
TV at that time, right? And you got to remember, this is a time when there was like 2 TV channels, right? Like in the era that they're purporting here, like, 2 or 3 TV channels. So if something
Yeah.
big was happening on one channel, another channel picked it up. So in reality, if something was occurring, it could be on every single TV channel.
Yes.
Right? It's sort of like, I would imagine when Kennedy was assassinated, suddenly every channel cut to that thing. So you couldn't miss things in that era. There wasn't 157 channels.
And nothing, no.
Yeah. Wasn't it just 57 channels?
Just something like that.
But anyways, he gives a speech about being mad. Being so mad.
How mad?
What's the wording? You probably know it even better
The
than I
exact
do at this time.
wording that it's very famous for is you need to get, I am mad and I am not going to take it anymore.
I'm mad. Yes. Get up, go to your window, open it up and scream, I'm mad and I'm not going to take it anymore. So I'm going to take this speech and I thought of this thing of motivation, right? A lot of the times I started looking at motivation as being like a pump your team up. Like a lot of these things are to go out there and win the game, or talk to
Bring
somebody
it home, son.
somebody who's downtrodden and turn them on a positive way, or find a boy who's recently orphaned and make him into a superhero, like that kind of thing.
I gotta start doing that.
Or a stuntman.
I mean, yes. When you talk about motivation, images like that are conjured up.
Right. The first one I thought of.
So I took this as motivation for action.
Yes.
Right?
That's exactly what that whole speech is about.
Yes, and it's motivating your average person. And I think it spoke to me because in this day and age, and this movie was like 45 years ago, right? But a lot of the sentiments that are echoed in his speech here are things that could apply to today. And particularly we're here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, not having the best year as far as we have, a big... On
We're
a serious
limping. We're
note,
limping a little bit.
we got a big drug crisis, a big meth crisis that's causing a lot of street crime. A lot of crazy things are happening. We're on pace to have the most homicides ever in a year. There's lots of petty crime. We see all over the news and social media about people robbing liquor stores.
Yeah, everybody in this room has to pay for liquor. I don't like this anymore.
Just brazen
bullshit.
thefts in daylight in front of people.
Yeah.
And people are getting fed up, right? The people that I know, it says time and time again,
One might say they're mad as hell.
they're mad as hell, and
Might
I
they
think
be?
somebody needs to get up on the evening news, right? Slide in there between
Peter Mansbridge should come back.
Gord LeClaire and Marilee Caruso at 6. At 6, not at 5, because more people listen at 6. More people tune in at 6. And say my piece. And I think he gets up and he says, in this time, I mean, we're in a depression. The crime rates are crazy. The news gets on, and all it does is it tells us about how many homicides are and how much violence there are in a way that it should be accepted by us. And too much, we're just sitting at home, and people have retreated into this. I just want to sit at home, and if I don't go out, I won't be a victim of the crime. Like, at least maybe you'll leave me alone if I stay in my own house. And he makes a comment in the speech like, I just want to be at home with my toaster and my TV, in the safety of my own home. So you leave me alone.
Toaster.
And I think
I feel safe with mine.
it was a different
I
age.
sleep
The
on my
toaster was
toaster.
important at that time, right?
The toaster was young at that time.
The microwave really wasn't a thing.
I just need something to hug.
Yeah.
Air raid siren goes off. Just grab your toaster and run.
But I think it's what we need. It's a call to action. It's all of us that are sitting out there that outnumber the bad people incredibly.
Yes.
But we're the quiet majority that needs to stand up and go to our windows and open them up and say, I'm mad. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. Right? Get up. Say,
Get up,
I'm mad
people.
as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Hang on 1 second.
This is jacking me up.
Right? And I think that's what you need to do when you're at the liquor store and you see a person walk in with a mask on and a bag and you know what they're going to do. You need to look at your other people in the liquor store and your other citizens that are scared. And you say, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it. Can you imagine?
Petrow's yelling out the window.
I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore.
That's what the city needs. It needs a little more of that. Can you imagine that 1 or 2 people walking to the liquor store and there's 20 other citizens there waiting to buy? And if everybody in the liquor store turned to that person and said, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore, right? We'd take our streets back.
You're fucking amazing.
Right? You go downtown and there's people that are looking to mug people and people get scared of it because we all want to go into our houses because we're scared of that person on the street that's going to do harm to us. When if all of us just went to the street, there'd be so many good people there that bad person wouldn't be able to do anything. And I think that's in the mentality that we need to switch. I think we need to get up. We need to take control of our city again. We can't just turn to the government. We can't turn to the media to do anything. We can't just turn to corporations or the police. I think the average citizen just needs to get up and say, we're mad and we're not going to take it anymore. In the words of Twisted Sister, I'm not going to take it. No, we ain't going to take it. I'm not going to take it anymore. Anyways, so that was my motivational
Anyways.
speech.
Did
I
you see
thought
what you inspired me to do?
it's a call to action for
Smoke weed?
The reason I'm out of breath is because I jumped 12 feet to the window.
In
No,
this
it-
day and age, the toaster has been replaced with medical marijuana.
Finally.
Grab your medical marijuana.
Oh, it's the best prescription ever. No, you're totally right about that. And when you said that you were kind of changing your mind on like pulling an audible and doing that one was in my wheelhouse to do. Excuse me, my breath.
It wasn't the first thing that came to mind with motivational speech, but it's a motivation to action.
I feel that that's more motivational than Tony Robbins.
Right?
Right? Like Tony Robbins is talking about changing your life, but he's getting up and he was like, change your, like everybody accumulatively change your situation is what he's asking for. He's asking for a united change. And I feel that like with all of the rallies these days and the way the world is working and fuck climate change.
Well,
and
he says,
fuck
he
the
goes,
little guy.
he
and-
says, we sit by and we're spectators on our own life.
Yeah.
Right? We hear about the violence. We hear about the air's not safe to breathe. We hear about our food's not safe to eat. But we just sit there and we watch it.
Yeah.
And what he's saying is, I mean, I don't want you to go and protest. I don't want you to write a letter to your governor or to your city councilor. You know, that's what I see on social. I don't want you to put a post on Facebook.
Yeah, don't tweet about it.
If you want me to take this into this century, don't just tweet about it. Don't put a post on Facebook. Don't join the one-day rally at the legislature and just make a sign. Get out. Get out and scream on the street. I'm mad. If you see something bad happening, say, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore.
I am actually going to do that the next time I see the liquor store
Right?
get robbed. I want to see if, no, I'm
Just
not
gonna
kidding. Like,
stand
no, but like I've heard that you bark like a dog and it fucks people up, right? Because I mean, I want a serious moment here. I would love to see all this shit stop. I would love, I mean, you're not going to kill it completely, but like, let's get real here. Like when I go to buy a bottle of booze and I see two people taking the same bottle out of the liquor store at no charge, come on, buddy. Like, just come on, just be better. But
It's disturbing on multiple fronts.
it is.
It's
and
one, you shouldn't be doing that because that's not the right thing. Right? And number two, why the fuck should I have to pay for something that you're not paying for?
And number
three, I'm going to end up paying for that thing because my thing that I buy is going to go up double in price.
Exactly. My Grey Goose is going up $7 because your Grey Goose is free.
Exactly.
This is not how this is
Right?
not the life I was
We're not
promised.
going to take it anymore.
I'm mad as hell.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I had a great thought. Oh, fucking moving on.
Anyways.
Don't make me okay boomer, you guys.
Thank you.
Fair, very well put.
We're Gen Xers.
Speaking of Julian who was on Julian Rowan, who was on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
He tweeted today. He just tweeted a shot of Boomer from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and it was okay Boomer.
Is that like the new? Like I haven't really seen much of it, but I hear that's a big thing now.
It seems like a cop out for people who don't actually have a conversation, but I don't know. It's a fun, weird thing to say to old people.
It really got some traction this week where a woman was at a climate change meeting and some elderly climate change
Oh, in New
denier
Zealand.
In New Zealand,
Yeah,
yes,
I saw
that's what it
this.
was. It started to call her out and give her shit, and her immediate response was "Okay, Boomer," and then just kept talking. Like
Who was doing that?
this climate change activist in New Zealand at a meeting, and she just called him a boomer right in the middle of her sentence. Like it was not like right off the cuff.
Okay, boomer, and just kept moving.
Like we're not going to mind you here.
okay.
You're
That
wrong.
makes
You're in the
sense.
wrong building. So boomer is now what the elderly people are called who don't give a shit about the planet and or the life we're living right
So
now.
if somebody calls a millennial a snowflake, then the proper
Yeah,
response
exactly.
is okay, boomer.
yes,
Okay.
100%.
And the Gen Xers just sit by smoking weed on their couch
We're
watching.
sorry.
I can't do anything. I'm just going to put up with it.
There's not many of us, right? You guys, we got the
really isn't.
we got the Cold War superpowers of the boomers and the millennials, and we're just the poor little Gen Xers.
They're just getting pushed around in the middle. All right. Well,
and to one last point, it's like we talk about climate change. It's like Greta, right? She's sick of just people sitting by and complaining about shit. Right? Get up and fucking do something. Say, I'm sick and tired of it. We're not going to take it anymore. Don't write a letter to your politician. Get up on the media and say, listen, fucking do something. Like, I'm calling you out. Do it. Don't tell me you're going to do it. Just fucking do it.
yes, and I mean, social change takes time and all, but I agree. Like the first step in all of this is to stand up and start saying something collectively. Like if everybody says the same thing.
If you
it's
see
not-
something,
Yeah.
say something. No, wait. I don't
No, if you see something, do something.
If you see it, you own it. But I'm not a cop. I don't know how to stop this.
Wasn't
shit.
the see something, say something from like the communist thing? Wasn't it the commies in the...
Like if you see a spy.
Yeah, I think it was.
If you think someone's a communist, you narc on them.
What was the in Hollywood where it went through where everybody was put on blast for being
like,
commies?
Fatty Arbuckle was. They said he was a communist, and it pretty much ended
What's
his
the name?
career.
What is it all named after? I'll do a little fact.
Yeah,
checking
do a little
on
fact
this.
checking.
Yeah,
I'm gonna move
Okay.
on here. I love yours though. I love the stand up for change, stand up for justice aspect of it. That really, you might have my vote. I'm not going to say no more.
I have a question. Are you
Wow.
Are you delivering this speech?
You know what? I'm getting up and delivering this speech.
And are you going to deliver it in the same format it was originally delivered?
Well, not as a lunatic, but I mean, like,
In your
Okay, 'cause-
Pajamas?
Because this is my
you know what?
question is the old man rant.
no. You know what? I'm gonna get me up there with fucking Greta Thunberg next to me, and we're gonna fucking say something.
Yeah.
You don't even like her.
I do. What do you mean I don't like her?
Oh boy. Oh, look what we've got.
Simmer
Jimmy.
down. Okay,
I
boomer.
like this. This is interesting. Okay, boomer.
It was a little ranty for me. I like it. I like the message. I think if you're delivering that in 2019 and some dude is yelling up there telling people what to do and telling them they have to do something, they're going to not do it because someone yelled at them.
We
to
are
do
a
it.
problem.
Yeah. No, you know what, Chrissy? That's a good point. That it needs to come with a hug these
Does it
days,
need to be
right?
like, if you wouldn't
It
mind,
needs to be wrapped properly.
You
It
guys
needs,
could maybe
yeah.
just do this.
I don't want to tell you what to do, but if you thought that this was also a good idea, maybe you could
With all due
get
respect,
mad.
Chrissy, you're up.
It's too
Oh,
polite.
hold on.
It's your turn.
Oh,
I have
wow.
things to poke.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
He
sorry.
wants to shit on
I would
Mark.
like to shit on Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry. You've been the only one who's been shit on so far. Okay.
I think you're asking a lot of people in Winnipeg to open their windows. Big risk. Is it winter when you're doing this? Is it summer? Because either way, mosquitoes are cold. Seems like a risk.
Seriously, what you're asking for involves West Nile by the sounds of your argument.
Or hypothermia.
In this day and age, most people have screens. Do you take the screen off or do you scream through the screen?
Well, okay, Jimmy, you raise a good point here. Is there a coupon involved? Because Winnipeggers want something for free while this is all happening. So is there like a 2-for-1 coupon involved if I go to my window?
Is there a Groupon?
Oh, this is
There
what
a Groupon?
Thank you, Chrissy,
Groupon
for
for Fight
rescuing.
Club?
Yeah.
Yeah. Other
You
than,
gotta tell that joke later.
other than my one joke, yours is good.
Okay. Are you good, Jimmy? Because
Yeah. Okay.
those were 2 bullets. So if
Yeah.
you've got a third in the chamber.
Oh no, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Chrissy, please tell us what you decided to bring to the party today.
All right, so I am doing Perfect from Friday Night Lights.
Being perfect is about being able to look your friends in the eye and know that you didn't let them down because you told them the truth. And that truth is that you did everything that you could. There wasn't one more thing that you could have done.
And I am delivering it to my women's sponge hockey team.
Okay.
We'll really quickly explain to you what sponge hockey is.
I love how you're like, I won't. Everyone knows the speech, but sponge hockey needs some
Right,
some
yeah.
A, B, and C here. Okay.
Take hockey, eliminate offsides, and put it on shoes, and use a sponge puck. That is sponge hockey. You need to have spongy shoes and a helmet and a stick. They don't care if you wear gloves. They don't care about literally anything else.
How does one run on ice?
There's shoes.
Not
that's
very- not very
sponge
well.
Not
hockey.
very well.
A lot of Bambi out there. A lot of Bambi. Yeah. So we used to play on a really good team. And we had all of these girls who were very athletic and they were very sportsy. And we won a bunch of games and we all hated each other.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah. And it wasn't fun at all. And I
that's
was
weird.
yeah.
that is very strange.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a goalie back then. So I just get in the net and they would yell and scream at each other for 3 hours. And then I'd get out of the net and be like, wow, you got
We
this.
won.
Yeah. Woo.
We won, asshole. Bye.
Yeah.
Don't want to talk to you now.
So about 3 years ago, we restructured our team and we took all of the really good players and we asked them not to come back.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So we have 12 girls on our team who have combined hockey experience of whatever the last 3 years of sponge hockey is.
Okay.
So
Wait, what's the comment you said? Many have not watched an entire hockey game.
That's right. Yes. Yes. There's a lot of Hallmark movies in their
yes.
lives. The W network is on most times. So but they're amazing women. So we never win,
But it's fun.
but we have the greatest time every single week.
Are you having more fun now that the assholes are gone?
100%.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
100%. It's totally different.
Then you're
So
winning already.
That's right. But it's about a 22 game season. and we often go about 2-20, and sometimes other teams forfeit.
Yes. Give or take 2.
Give or take 1 or 2 games. In our playoffs, so that you have an idea of what you play for in sponge hockey, is you play for a T-shirt or a round at the bar.
So respect. Got it.
Yeah, all due respect.
Is it? I think spongy is a uniquely Winnipeg sport.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Is it like the Manitoba Social? Is it a very
100%?
And I didn't
Okay.
realize this. Like, not even other places of Canada, I don't really think play spongy unless people have transplanted to there.
It's quite a bit less expensive.
Transplant.
Expats bring you spongy.
Winnipeg expats.
You also do it outside.
Oh.
And we never
wow,
cancel.
you had the elements in.
Never. We never cancel. Like, it's minus 42 outside, and instead of being 20-minute periods, it's 17.
I am struggling to find how you need a motivational speech for these amazing women who you play with, who lose constantly in minus 40-degree weather. Like, what do you need to make them want to do more?
To tie in one of your movie quotes of the week, there's no crying in spongy either.
No shit. No shit.
No, there's no crying. Well, so losing all the time and not being talented can wear on you.
Sure.
So some of
I don't know what that's like.
No.
I've heard of this.
I mean, me either, but some of the girls tell me this sometimes.
This is true? This isn't just a fucking thing?
Right.
Oh, wow.
I don't believe in it.
No, it's not a thing.
It's not. It's like organic.
Right.
It's just the title.
Chrissy, can you just take a second and explain that joke?
I used to work in St. Petrow Mall, and there was 2 girls having lunch in the food court, and the one girl says, I don't believe in organic. And the other girl says, you don't eat organic, or you don't think it's a thing? And she says, yeah, I don't think it's a thing. And the other girl goes, yeah, totally. It's probably not a thing, right? And they're like, yeah, no, it's probably not a thing. I don't believe in it. Yeah.
And Chrissy's like, you put it like a Facebook post and
I
it came
did.
back in your memories just like the other day?
Yeah.
I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
It's a call to a new generation.
That's right.
Anyways, I thought.
Anyway.
No, I'm just I know those conversations. Those are the conversations where you just want to walk over and be like, okay, guys, so that you get through life. Let me tell you something.
If you could just jump into the fireplace and
Yeah.
please
But it
make
has-
sure you don't procreate.
Have you heard of
spurred on-
Darwinism?
Exactly. It has spurred on to like a funny inside joke that we go back to all the
Yes.
time. When somebody says something, you're like, oh, you just don't believe it.
Don't think it's
so
a
you
thing.
just don't believe.
Like it's like organic. Like Santa Claus and organic.
Same thing.
I can't wait for you to say that, and I'm in your company. 'Cause now I'm in on the joke.
Yes.
I'll be like, oh, so you have no proof? You just don't believe. I just don't believe. Okay. All right. Fucking idiot. Go on, Chrissy.
Okay. So after a while of losing, it does tend to wear on people. So each new season, as it starts, the girls who don't play hockey, who don't understand hockey, will say to me, I'll come back if you would like me to come back, but I know I'm really terrible. And if you don't want me to come back, I would understand if you want to have a better player or whoever it is.
Wow, that's humbling.
It's sad because these are some of the best people I know. So, the speech from Friday Night Lights, Perfect, is that being perfect is being able to look inside yourself and say that you gave everything you could and you had nothing left to give and that you were the best person you could be, is the long story short of it.
Yeah.
So I have literally watched girls come in that dressing room, barf in the garbage can, put their shoes on, and go out and play a game of hockey.
For nothing.
They're barfing from booze, just
Oh.
so we're clear.
I just didn't want to touch that for a second. I was like,
No,
hey,
no.
life's, yeah.
Yeah,
Did she not mention a major component of Spongy's the drinking?
it's all the drinking. That's the reason we literally go play the games so that we can go out after to have
Or you
drinks.
literally
Like
drink
curling.
before you play the game.
Wait,
by the
oh,
sounds
no.
of it.
Also, being perfect is making sure that you never forget when it's your turn to get the bottle of Fireball for the game.
That
Okay.
you pass around
You
pre-game.
know what? You're
And on the
right.
bench.
You're right. During game, I know this is
100%.
beer
Yes.
spongy.
Yes.
is what this
Oh,
is.
yes, it is.
But you know, what? There's a great point in that speech when he says about looking around the room and not letting down your friends or your family or your loved ones. And as much as you say, it might not matter the fireball. It matters who brings the fireball because you're letting down your friends
no,
and your
if
family.
it's your turn to bring
Yeah.
the Fireball, you show up and bring the damn Fireball.
You just
At the end of the game, you may not be ahead on the scoreboard. But if you gave it your all and brought the Fireball, then you're perfect.
That's right. Then you're
Listen, you
perfect.
may have not done one thing on the rink tonight, kid,
No.
but you brought the fireball.
Yes.
No, you did zero hockey. No hockey happened. But you brought the fireball. You came.
Everybody
You came out
needs-
afterwards.
You went for drinks afterwards. You we're good. And at the
You are perfect.
you are perfect.
And my heart is full.
And that's
And my heart.
that's what he says at the very end of the speech is my heart is full. And that's what I tell these girls all the time. So playoff weekend is literally arrive 7 p.m. on Friday,
Oh wow.
go home sometime Sunday night, and be shit bombed the entire time. On a Friday night, Mark got us tickets to a Jet game so we couldn't go to the Friday night playoff game. We got to the rink at 9:30 p.m. The girls lost 7-1, and every single one of them was blind drunk screaming for Jello shots. That makes my heart full. That is like, what more could I possibly ask
my heart
for?
full.
You have
love that.
you have assembled as a general manager the perfect team.
unit. That's right.
Do you walk in the room and go, Spongies assemble?
Well, so
And
Mark
then you bring the fireball out.
or the Jello shots too.
Yes,
Mark has a
yeah.
picture of me.
I wish we could have found it.
Yeah.
There's actually a picture of her up on, like, standing on a cooler in the dressing room before the game,
Like holding court.
giving a speech
I'm Billy Bob Thornton.
that was very
basically.
similar to this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
It was
I love
fantastic.
that.
We're all
yeah.
looking
If
into
we
each
will
other's
find it, see if
eyes.
we can post it on
100%. If
Insta
you
here.
can send it, I will post that video up for sure.
And-
you know what? I know I said Mark might have my vote, but I think you might actually have my vote. Only because it's.
Am I the only one who doesn't have your vote, Mike?
I keep looking at you as I say it, don't I, Jimmy?
Yeah, you do.
But you are perfect.
But you,
My heart is full.
Jimmy, you might not have my vote, but you have my adoration. I don't know which one you want
You know
more
what,
of.
you guys? I don't think I'm gonna leave here crying today.
Snowflake needs a hug. Let's give him a hug before he leaves.
Oh, boomer.
Lovely.
I can't pick apart your speech because you've very well done. Is that proper English? You've done very well what I thought.
You did good.
You did good. you did good. Doing good. You took
Sling blade.
On the Billy Bob Thornton
That's
train.
right. That's why I didn't bring him to do my speech. It's a bit creepy.
just that's not even a speech. That's just syllables. If that's
You're not sure which Billy Bob you're gonna get.
That's right.
You bring the perfect Billy Bob and you end up with Sling Blade or Bad Santa.
Guy with Angelina Jolie's blood around his neck or whatever that was.
my favorite Billy Bob is Pushing Tin Billy Bob.
Oh,
you guys
yeah.
ever see that one about the air traffic
Air traffic controllers.
A
Yeah.
bunch of air traffic controllers who are like all hot rods and think they're the shit because they can command as many planes in the air. And Billy Bob Thornton's like the plane whisperer. Like he shows up at this airport and everyone's like, "You're a god, man!" Like,
Yeah.
you
How
wanna-
are you gonna fit that plane between the?
I'm gonna put it right there. It's a sleeper movie. It's definitely a movie that just kind of got under the radar. But I don't think, where would I find? I mean, no, I don't have a single thing to attack you on, Chrissy. I'm sorry. Jimmy, you got anything?
I just don't think they need motivating.
You're
They seem
not
ready to go.
You know, yeah, I'm gonna second that with Jimmy. That's what my point was. That you have a team of women who are already putting up with enough shit, and you really don't have to give them a speech. But in regard, this speech turns it up to a level that's fucking hilarious. Like this speech makes them even more drunk. I'm guessing it makes them even more want to try harder, right? So it's you're getting a double dose. I think if she
Well, this
gives the
speech is for when those girls come to me at the start of the season and say, I know I'm horrible at sports, and if you'd like to have
okay.
someone else instead of me, and I remind them of all the amazing things they bring to the table.
because you can't do that when they're drunk because they just forget it.
That's like your recruiting meeting at the beginning of the season.
That's right. How much can you drink? Are you a puker? 'Cause we don't really. Do we have to babysit you? I'm not really into that.
Do we have to keep a bucket on the?
You could also use the speech that I was originally going to use from Boiler Room for that beginning of the year meeting.
Who wants to be a
Has
fucking
anybody in
millionaire?
here played hockey before? Okay, get the fuck out.
Okay, get the fuck out.
We don't take your kind.
We don't take hockey players. We make hockey players.
We don't take spongy. We make spongy.
The only thing I wanted to say is the reason that I picked this movie is because it has nothing to do with winning. And there's very, very few
That's very
sports
true.
motivational speeches that aren't about. We watched a bunch today and they were like, they might be better than us, but we're going to win.
Yeah,
this
it's always
really-
about winning and losing. It's never
Yeah.
about being as
Giving
good
your
as
all.
you. Yeah, or
Yeah.
just being
Except
as,
we are Marshall.
yeah. Well, that
I don't think we want to find the humor in We Are Marshall. Just
there's a lot of dark
everyone's
spots in
I
that
think he
dead.
movie.
almost says the same thing as in We Are Marshall. It doesn't matter what the score is. It's just as long as we're a team and we did it together, there's no way we can lose.
it's a plane crash. I thought might make it a little meow in here.
Okay, well,
I have to rag on you a little bit. I got to tell you,
Yeah,
you basically it's
do
just the
it.
same speech as from We Are Marshall, except with no dead people.
Should have picked We Are Marshall then.
for some reason that's why it's more effective. I think the dead people kind of make the speech.
There's only one injured Booby Miles. You don't have to think about all the dead people.
Fucking booby.
Fucking booby.
Should never have played on that knee.
So
You know,
happy
later
to
on
know
in
what
life,
that is.
later on in life, he's probably going to have a lot of those reoccurring sports injuries. You know about that, Mike.
I do.
Your Achilles
I mean,
kind of
it's
acts
no
up from
Achilles.
time to time.
I have an old sports-related injury from hypnosis.
Oh, hypnosis-related injury.
Hypnosis-related
Is
sports
there any
injury.
other kind?
Yeah. This one went down in the books, let me tell you. I also
Anywho.
I want to close the show out here because I think we've started at incredibly comical and funny, and now we've slowly made our way from that to crazy old man in pajamas screaming
my
"Get
lawn!"
off my lawn" kind of thing to a group of incredibly strong, talented women who are playing a sport that they know nothing about.
They're not talented.
Okay, sorry, not talented.
That's the point, Michael.
Okay.
Thought she made her point. There was no talent.
Sorry.
full heart, no talent.
I'm just trying to be positive.
What was red eyes?
Oh, because he says clear eyes, full heart, can't lose. So I was like, red eyes, whiskey heart, can't lose.
Red eyes, whiskey liver,
Sorry.
always
No,
hung.
no talent.
No talent. There it is.
Can't lose.
Can't lose if you got no talent.
I was going to tell all these girls to listen to this podcast, and Mark just fucked it up.
Okay, well let's close.
There's
this
some
fucker out
artistic
here.
license here.
Yes.
I was kind of playing in the football. I wanted to do the inches speech because I think I do a really poor man's Al Pacino, right? I wanted it's all about inches, and get in. But then I'm like, I don't want to do a whole speech in somebody else's voice. And then I looked at the Carpe Diem speech from Dead Poets Society about
that's a good
seizing the
one.
day. And then that's when I went down the rabbit hole of like I had started on Win or Lose, this is what you do, or 300, so even Shakespeare, like Onward into the Breach, dear friends, right? Like, which is actually from my speech. But I landed on this one because when I landed on it, I was like, okay, it's everybody knows it. But then I was like, how do I fucking apply it? And then I messaged in the group. I was like, yeah, I got to think of a really smart way to do this. And I picked the Your Move, Chief speech from Good Will Hunting.
You're an orphan, right? Do you think I'd know the first thing about how hard your life has been? How you feel? Who you are? Because I read Oliver Twist. Does that encapsulate you?
And I started to think, I'm like, okay, well, how is this motivational to a group of people? How do I get a spongy team of hockey players to do something? How do I change Bruce Wayne's trajectory in history, right? Like what is this designed for? And then it kind of hit me on the head. And yes, it's sappy, but I chose a younger Michael Petrow, a younger me, to argue this towards because, I understand what it's like to be a mathematical genius. It's just the similarities there.
I gotta go.
And solving big board equations all
Yeah,
your life.
like I was the hallways that no, I'm kidding. I didn't sympathize with any of the movie-based characteristics at all, right? What I sympathized with was the idea that when I was younger, I was in the crosshairs of two parents who didn't like each other and they enjoyed fighting more than giving me guidance, and being diagnosed with ADD. So I was in this big, huge spiral of all this. I couldn't focus on anything. I couldn't commit to anything. I couldn't understand why I couldn't learn anything. I didn't know until I was diagnosed that this was a problem. So I thought I knew everything because I was just angry at the world at the time for what I was going through. And when he starts to talk to him mostly about not what he thinks he knows about life, but how he thinks he knows it all is what I was really tuning into with this, right? Just because you see a painting on a wall, the sentence is just because you saw a painting, you chew my entire life apart.
Yeah.
And I would do that. I would dissect people down to the most minuscule thing because it was how I could understand them, right? I would never look at people with loving and sympathetic eyes. I just think I knew it all because I was so fucking confused at the time. It was just an easy way to play it. And I would give myself this speech mostly because I think it would be the only way that I would understand it, right? It's being always having been somewhat of a smart aleck and somewhat of a sarcastic prick. The way he relays it with little bits of information about what he knows, right? Like you're playing to your crowd, right? And he's like, you would tell me a story about love, you would quote a sonnet because he's very smart, right? So those are the things that I kind of attached myself to. Plus, I was a fighter. No, I wasn't.
You'd only take advice from somebody who's equally smart as you.
Yes.
So you have to give it to yourself.
I didn't even think of it like that. I appreciate that. But in other aspects of it, like just what you're learning in that speech from Robin is, even though he's just been chewed apart by this asshole prick kid, he's still willing to let his guard down, which is what that lesson is about.
Yeah.
Was letting your guard down, letting people in, stop being this tough exterior that you think is going to get you through the world, and learn some things about yourself, correct them, and move on.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had been given that speech then, I probably wouldn't be going through the things I went through 10, 15 years later, right? So it was definite, and I'm drawn into little bits of the dark humor from it, right? Like the quoting of Shakespeare is more of a sarcastic jab than it's about being smart, right? So it's subtext essentially.
Yes.
So
layered.
It's like a no one cares, right?
Yeah.
Shakespeare, no one cares.
Yeah, it's not about the fact that you know it. It's about the fact that nobody cares. So stop thinking like that.
And
right?
he also subtly threw in that you'd probably quote me from Shakespeare, that he quoted Shakespeare saying, we all fucking know Shakespeare.
Exactly. You're
not unique.
And I have always had that issue because I've definitely strived to be as unique as possible, like live a unique life, maybe not be as unique.
Yeah.
So when someone tells me, hey, you're not, like, I respond to that really well. I like it when someone's like, hey man, tone it down a bit, stop pumping your tires, bring it in. You're not as great as you are. I respond to that, which is what that whole speech is really about, beyond trying to break him to talk. It's about, I see you. Pirate sees a pirate.
Yeah.
We should be best friends because I'm really good at telling people to calm down. Really good.
Now I have a lovely medication.
Hey, listen. Calm down.
That's right. Hey, listen, relax.
Oh, yeah. That's Chrissy's 3 least favorite words in the English language, and I usually use them all in a row. Hey, listen, relax.
Hey.
Works perfect.
Hey. So the floor is yours, everybody, to attack me on my very personal and shared experience.
Oh, God.
Feel free to ridicule me in any way you feel like.
What age Petrow is getting this speech?
Yeah.
15, 16.
So, like, you should have known better.
I very much should have fucking known better.
That's a deep, introspective.
It is. I brought that aspect to it because I was like, you know what? We always go funny. We always go weird. I always go off the rails. So I was like, I'm going to try to stay as straight and narrow with this one.
You mean like not having food at a restaurant?
Exactly.
Yeah.
My restaurant with no food.
Mike's always thinking outside the box.
Outside the bun.
Off the plate.
But if there is no bun.
And I really was trying to figure out how to throw in, how do you like them apples? But I just didn't.
Oh, I'm so sad you didn't.
But you don't serve any apples.
No, not at my restaurant. I meant in the speech,
okay, yeah.
right? Like at the end of it all.
Do you think that your 16-year-old self would have heard the first little bit of that speech and stopped listening?
Same question.
Oh. Mark, you want to jump on this bandwagon?
No,
probably not.
Sit
The
by
only,
and watch.
the only reason I'm saying that now is because I have some sort of grasp on that person then. So I'm thinking in regards to, I wish somebody had said that to me, knowing what I know now. I don't think a 16-year-old me would have listened. I think because a 16-year-old me would have been like eyeliner and nail polish, just getting into that, like a very defiant phase.
Fuck, you were cool.
Yeah.
That coolness.
The question really is, are you self-aware enough, Mike, to know how to get through to a 16-year-old you.
Even though I have the cheat codes,
Yes.
can I still?
Yeah,
Can I still break that down?
Because there's the point where you have to convince younger you that you're you from the future.
Exactly.
I got to get over that hump first. Right?
You got to get over that hurdle, clearly.
Okay, so first off,
Before you even who the fuck takes advice from some lunatic that tells you they're you? I'm with Jimmy on this one.
I
This is
actually
bullshit.
got you, Petrow. I don't think you needed to tell him you're you. It's okay.
No,
Just
no.
be Robin Williams.
Just be Rob. Be okay.
More believable.
Yeah, I get it. Thank you, Chrissy. I appreciate that.
That's good advice.
But-
We should all just be a little more Robin Williams.
Yes.
If you
But
could just
that's-
be Robin Williams, I think you'd be better.
I'm just sitting there trying to explain to this kid. Okay, all right. So, younger me. This is what. Have you ever seen the movie Looper? I'm Bruce Willis. You're John.
Joe go left.
You're don't go left. Or did you say Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Oh, it's Joe go left.
Joe go Lev?
Yeah.
I thought you said don't go left.
Oh, well,
Also,
I thought you
don't
were
do
doing
that.
like some Cockney English thing, like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, don't go left.
I'm not that smart.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm not that smart either. I don't know what you're talking about.
Up the apples and pears?
This is fucking strawberry
what
tart.
you're talking
You
about.
know what I was talking about. So
Cockney slang.
Cockney slang, right? Okay, so what about my strawberry tart?
I am the pop culture aficionado.
Here's some education in the Real Debaters episode today. When I say, what about your strawberry tart, I'm asking you in Cockney slang, what about your heart? Because it's usually something that rhymes with it or is similar to it. Strawberry being red is your heart, strawberry tart, heart. You're looking at me, you're drowning.
I'm up the apples and pears. It means you're upstairs.
Upstairs.
But why would you use this language?
Well, this is
just an English Cockney thing
Oh,
to
I'm
do where they
asking.
do these rhyming slang. It's kind of like a code so that you don't really know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So about your motivational speech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually that's my job to bring it back. I appreciate you.
No
You
problem.
saw the moment and carpe diem that shit. So, anybody else want to?
I saw, you know what, to bring it back to what we were talking about in the conversation a little bit, I kind of see your speech, the way that you have it laid out, and in the way that it happens in the movie, is sort of the boomer, if you wish, talking to the millennial, right? And trying to give that cross-generational advice that doesn't always translate. The young, book-smart millennial, or the young kid who's just out of university who knows everything because he just finished his engineering degree. Kind of thing, which doesn't work for the movie because he's not really in school. He's just smart enough to be.
He's
in
the janitor.
school.
The only reason he's there is because of his job.
Exactly. But it's like the line that gets me in there, and that I really like the speech is something that's like you can tell me all about Michelangelo, and his art, and his political views, and his sexual orientation, and when he was born, and where he lived, and
But
all the
you've
facts.
never
don't
been
know
to the Sistine
But
Chapel.
can you tell me what it smells like in the Sistine Chapel? And that all brings it back to the that's my old fogey man in me. That's my little piece of the boomer. That's Gen Xers are like half boomer, half millennials, right? That's the boomer part of me that says, like, yeah, you know everything, but you haven't lived it. You know it in theory, but you haven't been there. But the millennial side of me is more educated than the boomer side of me. So I have that. I see it. Basically what I'm saying is I see that conversation as not really happening between an old you and a young you. It's the now you that's the two sides of you. Right? It's that internal conversation between the old you and the young you forming the current you.
Scared yourself.
You know what I'm saying?
I get exactly what you're saying.
Right?
Yes.
Like Robin Williams is on one shoulder and
I'm coming to terms with myself in a moment, whereas the old me
Yes.
and the new me would never be able to have that
And
conversation.
isn't it only
Exactly.
because Matt Damon is so exceptionally smart that he's able to really listen to that speech and take some of it in? Because a 16-year-old kid would probably
Thinks there. Yeah.
right. A 16-year-old kid would hear the first little bit of that and be like, "What's a Sistine Chapel? I don't know what you're like. I don't know what you're saying."
Yeah, nobody talks like.
but you also
Dawson's
wouldn't be giving
Creek
that
people.
speech
Yeah.
to somebody who
Yeah.
doesn't know that.
Sure, but you'd be trying to get really deep, and I think the reason that it works for Matt Damon is because he's already deep. He already has all of these experiences, and he's really, really smart. So when you lay it out for him like that, he's able to be like,
It's catered to
Yeah,
him
I'm a
as opposed
dick.
to me, where I'd be like, "Fuck off, buddy. I want to go put eyeliner on." You know, like
That's
I got
what you
bigger
say to
priorities.
future
No,
you.
that's yeah.
I would like to see a picture of you in eyeliner, please.
I'll find it.
Okay.
The older you would just be like, this kid's fucking hopeless.
Yeah. Who let this happen?
You go back in time and just give up.
You know what? I don't want to talk to you, but I need to talk to my mom. How the fuck
Slap
did this
yourself
go
around.
down? All right. Well, it is that point in the show where we all vote for each other instead of ourselves and share the
The cat
ideas.
just came in the room.
Yeah, it's
And
the
there
hour
it is.
45 minute. It's right
What
there.
did I tell you?
Yeah.
Right?
Every fucking time.
No, it's yeah.
I didn't bring my phone. Can I just yell out my answer?
You know what? Let's change that. We'll change it for today.
All right.
We'll,
No, you guys do your
no,
phones.
no, no, no,
yell.
no. I would rather do the yell out at the same time one. That one to me is it's coming in on other parts of the show.
But is
so
it gonna be fine on the audio?
Just don't scream too loud.
Yeah. Okay, you're right about that, Jimmy. I see.
You guys do phones, and I'll go first.
All right. Pick up your
How's
phones,
that?
everybody.
We quickly.
Being
We're
so
not going to
bossy.
lie about it. I'm not going to change my mind.
We're
based
so
on-
meta that we debate about how we're going to win the show. I love it. Okay, on the count of 3, everybody goes around the
Just
room.
let me think for 1 second because you all gave really compelling stories.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Choose wisely, Mark.
All right.
I'm
I'm good. I decided.
Thank you. I don't want to sing anymore. Okay, Jimmy, on the count of 3.
What?
Just me?
Confused.
I'm just fucking with everybody. What are we doing?
Oh, I don't know either. Just Jimmy on the count of 3. Why does he have to wait till 3?
Just we got to say it really quick, one after the other, without thinking. We're going to start with Jimmy, and then everybody's going boom, 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 boom. Go,
Michael.
Chrissy.
Michael.
Chrissy,
Yay!
Does there have to be another phone call?
Shauna's downstairs bringing up groceries right now. She texted me, and I'm supposed to go help her. So how about I go help her?
Isn't that convenient?
And then Shauna can break the tie because she's like, "Are you done?" And I'm like, "We're in the middle of the vote." What do
so
I
you
do?"
can just edit this part. to
No,
the-
we don't even have to edit it. You guys keep talking.
We have to keep
Oh,
it.
what?
We have to keep the
No,
conversation
this is
interesting
Yeah,
while
you
you're
don't
gone.
have to keep it interesting. Just
Okay.
talk amongst
Take
each
your
other.
headset off so you can't hear us anymore. Now we can whisper about Mike and he doesn't hear us.
But he,
These are the sounds of your host leaving the show.
It's all gone to shit.
it's awkward now.
So you like stuff?
So what
Big
did you
fan
guys
stuff.
watch last week?
Wow, that's really deep. I don't remember that far back.
We literally only watched movies so that we would have something to talk about with what did you watch?
We made time to
I don't
watch
think-
things that you watch. What did you? I'm going to ask you. You might have talked about it on the other shows that I wasn't on, but I'm going to pretend
hurt.
like I didn't listen. But we know you're a big horror movie fan. Halloween just passed a week ago. Did you do some special like Halloween movie-thon or anything? Or?
Well, I always do that thing where AMC just shows like 100 horror movies throughout the 30 days, so I kind of just catch that every now and then. But I do try to watch them all from start to finish, and that was a fun little Halloween thing I did.
That's
I went. what did I do this year? This year I picked. I went with Child's Play, all the Chucky movies. Yeah,
That's a lot, isn't it?
yeah. There's like 7 or 8, but I find they really start losing steam once they get to Bride.
Bride
Yeah.
just went.
Goes Bride to Seed, and then
Like the doll married another doll?
yes.
Yeah, but I love what's her
Jennifer Tilly.
Jennifer Tilly, I love.
Yeah.
Her voice is
Oh,
fantastic.
she's wonderful.
Okay.
Oh, Michael's back. Good.
And there's the Winnipeg connection to Child's Play now, right? Oh, hey, Shauna.
Yeah, exactly. They shot some of it at Okamic Marsh, I think, too, in
Cool.
Clannaboy. Yeah.
Nice.
So what is your all-time favorite horror movie?
Ooh.
You have 5 seconds.
Oh God. Fuck.
Go.
I guess the first Halloween, probably.
Okay.
You would know this. What was Michael Myers' mask originally modeled off
Oh,
of?
Shatner.
There you go.
Mark only asks questions he already knows the answer to.
Honestly, they should have just kept it as Shatner. They shouldn't have painted it or anything.
No, it would be great if it was just a Shatner mask.
clearly built.
His face.
Ready to vote? Oh God.
My goodness.
No.
That's okay.
Fail.
We can hold it. We can hold it. Not a big deal. All right. I'm out of breath again.
Not
So-
from screaming out the window this time.
So, so we have a tie. We have 2 for me and we have 2 for Chrissy. Shauna just got home. She actually, like I said, she was messaging, if you guys are done, can you come out downstairs and help me with the groceries? So it worked out perfectly. So Shauna, we've got a tie. The movies that were involved for everybody involved here. We had Hot Rod, the jump speech from the epic movie Hot Rod. We had Mark. I'm too out of breath to do this.
I don't know. It was a movie made in 1976 called Network. You probably haven't seen it, so it's not going to be much help. But I'm not in the tie, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. And then Chrissy picked the perfect scene from Friday Night Lights, and I picked the Your Move Chief scene from Good Will Hunting. So the tie is between Good Will Hunting and Friday Night Lights.
You just said we're not supposed to tell who said what thing. You just broke your own rule.
Ruined. You ruined it all.
Oh, that's okay. Chrissy wins.
Yay! Actually, it's fine. Everything's fine.
So there's no favoritism. What's the opposite of favoritism?
I never planned for a tie, which is why I always screw this up.
There's 4 of us.
I like that it's different
Thanks,
every
Sean.
time.
Come back anytime.
Every time there's a tie, we do a different version of how to break it.
We do. We should actually put this down in writing so that if it ever...
No, I think each time we put up a new different...
okay, I like that. I like the running
Our
gag.
consistent thing will be the inconsistency of how we break ties.
There's Burger Boy.
Oh, Burger... Yes, hour 45 cats are coming out.
cool.
Chrissy.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Some people are going to think that we let you win just because it's the first time on the podcast.
I kind of feel like you let me win, and I'm perfectly fine with it.
And they're going to be absolutely right. So... Yeah.
What did you...
so anybody else wants to come on your podcast is guaranteed win.
Yeah. Guest is a softball pitch thrown right up the middle.
That's right.
Did you have any other picks, Chrissy, that you wanted to use that kind of didn't make it?
I wanted to do Remember the Titans, but we couldn't really figure out how to, like Denzel Washington's speech where he talks about the people who died in the war, but then I realized that I'd be doing that on Remembrance Day, which was weird, and I wasn't really sure who to give that speech to because
veterans.
It's racist veterans. If I could have given it to racist veterans.
There is a heavy racist connotation in it.
Isn't it like the Civil War that they're talking about?
It's
Gettysburg. Right?
Gettysburg, yeah.
Right?
Thank you very much, and it's very much about like.
What's the address of that again?
Fuck, I don't know.
It's
Gettysburg Address. Really? No.
I'm sorry, my Civil War history isn't up to par.
Your Civil War humor is a little off, Jimmy.
A war hasn't happened in the last 40
Not
years.
like some good Civil War puns.
Yeah.
Not in August.
The Civil War was in 1965, right?
That's called gray-blue humor.
Okay.
Well done.
Mark, did you have any other picks that weren't racist
I did.
in
I think
nature?
I talked about it. I was gonna do Boiler Room.
Yes.
As I like the speech that Affleck gets. It's sort of the motivational to the sellers, basically, but it's motivating people to be greedy, right? But I thought it would work.
Greed is good, to quote
Greed
Wall
is good.
Street.
Yeah. It was interesting. It's a good one. It's funny to watch, but I just thought I'd get a little more serious and poignant. Didn't work.
Jimmy, did you have any other picks that were floating around?
Not really. Like, I knew I was going to do a speech to Bruce Wayne right from the beginning, but I didn't know. I couldn't find, like, a dad speech, and then I just watched Hot Rod, and it kind of fell together for me. Right in my lap.
So, like I said, I mentioned...
jumped him.
Yeah. You could say I jumped my father.
My only other, I was hard in the paint about was freedom from Braveheart. But I couldn't... it's not believable that I'm in any sort of military-esque situation where I'm commanding troops
Not
on
with
battle.
your Achilles injury.
No, definitely.
Not with your bone spurs.
But I really couldn't. I was like, it'll just be traditionally me doing it over and over and over again, like the same bullshit I would do. So I was like, no, I'm gonna bring it home, make it a little soulful this episode.
If the draft or conscription hit, would your Achilles injury get you out of it? Or?
I think so.
It reduces my launching capabilities. So
Well, they'd have you do a different job.
I'd be pushing paper for
Yeah,
sure.
something like that.
Yeah.
Could bring
It'd be
your
less
flail.
launching then for you.
You'd be launching paper.
The only launching would be the paper airplane I made.
Damn
I feel
right.
like nowadays conscription would probably involve you sitting much in a chair like you're currently sitting on with the remote control, much like you have next to you, playing
It's a
the
natural
video
state,
game of a
yes.
drone.
Yeah, this is my natural state.
Welcome to war.
You play video games, we have the perfect job for
Yeah,
you.
we're gonna get you a couch, some weed, and this controller.
There was
Go get a high score. It's sad but true, people.
It's totally how it's driven. There was some other picks online from some of our followers. Denzel from Wesley Studios picked Dr. Evil at the father-son counseling group. That was a great motivational moment. Then we had somebody picked.
You're just not evil enough. Is that the one?
That's the one.
Just don't get it.
That's the one. Brian Lataki, Al Pacino's Life, and Life an Inch at a Time speech from Any Given Sunday.
Yeah.
Also the Dumb and Dumber, I'm Tired of Being a Nobody speech.
That one's nice.
You put Jimmy. I love how Jimmy comments on them. It's the best. Justin Long's speech from the admissions board and accepted. I don't
remember that one. I've seen the movie though.
Vaguely remember.
Basically,
it.
when he just admits defeat and he says, "You guys aren't going to pick us anyways because you've already made your opinion about us." Yeah.
Then Beaver Does Movies. Bernie Mac from House Party 2. Fuck him. Martin put Colonel Guile, played by Jean-Claude Van Damme in Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
I was like, what are you doing, buddy? And
JCVD.
then we got Movies for the Win, which was Red's monologue from The Shawshank Redemption.
That's a good one. That's Get Busy Living, Get Busy Dying. Is
Get
that
Busy
the one?
Living, Get
Yeah,
Busy-
that's
yeah,
a solid
that's-
one.
We
the
talked
one.
about that one for a while, but
Yeah.
was the audience part that was difficult? Like, who are you gonna? Old folks home.
To your buddy who's getting out of jail, headed for Zwatnail.
Is what?
That's where he's headed, to Zwatnail.
Ziwatanejo.
Say what the Saint. I don't. Yeah, say Watanejo is. I think it's.
Ziwatanejo.
Ziwatanejo.
It's in Mexico.
Okay.
It's on the Pacific. That's part of the speech, actually.
It is part of this.
You know what the Mexicans say about the Pacific?
Go on the rock wall for a while.
It never remembers. Or something along those lines.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I just want to go live my days out in a place, in the beach, in a place that never remembers.
Yeah, that's exactly what Andy says.
My goodness.
Well, I know. Yeah, that's about it. It's about end time. I think it's end time. What do you say?
It was a good speech. Thanks for coming by, Chrissy.
Thanks for having me.
You'll have to join us again.
It's great.
Thank you very much for doing this, Chrissy.
Yeah.
This was awesome. I will. Let's do our send-outs here. So if anybody wants to send us an idea for the show, please feel free to. You can email us at therealdebaters@gmail.com. And that is REEL because we're cheeky. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. All you got to do is just search The Real Debaters. Follow us on Instagram for all of our fun-loving games and posts that we like to play the debate live with other people on. Besides that, I'm Michael Petrow.
Jimmy Skinner.
Mark Cowell.
Chrissy Latimer.
And we're out.